What's up? Guys, so you're telling me that Scotland played Brazil and there wasn't a single alien abduction? This is bullshit. Song name? I can get that to you. The letter was still in your something. It's in that link. Guys, how's it going? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the live stream of Let's Read, where I record tomorrow's video because this is the only way I can stay focused without completely fucking off to some other activity. But my day's going good, and I'm feeling good. You love me, I love you too. Good to see you guys. God bless you. We're cracking one, cracking a DC. A fridge cigarette is what they call it. Time to dissolve. Yeah, how do we dissolve? Is that... Do aliens dissolve you whenever they abduct you? I was forced to watch an entire game of soccer waiting for an alien abduction. Did I exercise today? I did exercise today. I did the posterior chain, which was just like hamstrings, deadlift style things. So basically legs, but on the back end toward your butt. Diet crack. Does crack have calories? Because if not, I'm gonna start smoking tomorrow. Psychic Vampire Lunchbox is here, Big J. Let's go. Let's freaking go, Lunchbox. Good to see ya. Please don't absorb too much of my energy. Starting super early, huh? Are we early? I don't know. It's 9:30 p.m. Some would say we're late. Some would, we're early if I was supposed to start 2 years from now. Man, it's going. My bestie's mom totaled her car today. Now she has a gifted car. Damn. Is it just like a rental or something like that? I was loving this FIFA thing going on. Great PR for America. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm glad we can. It is kind of strange. Like you have everybody together and all of your presuppositions on how the media makes you perceive other places. You're like, oh, I guess we can get along well enough to play some football. Check your local Ace Hardware and CVS for Pokemon product. Oh yeah, I don't really buy anymore. Like having just got into it, I realized pretty quick that buying like packs of stuff to crack can be fun for like a new set. But if you're just going for the singles, it's kind of pointless to buy it. Your mom has a boyfriend? Thank God, dude. Is it me? I've been waiting. Waiting for my opportunity. That's right, my bad. I forgot you're on the East Coast. Oh, no worries. Food ball? Yeah, that's what Americans play instead of food ball. It is kind of funny. I saw that like some places like Norway or whatever it was. Was it Norway? That they're not like eating any of the American food and they're having like a shit ton of food shipped in for the athletes because of all the cancer-causing products that we just sort of casually allow into our... But that's what makes America America, is that every single aspect of it, including what we put into our bodies, is so corporatized, it kills us early. Do I like jungle? I like, drum and bass and jungle, and I love everything, honestly, electronic. Really, any type of music. I mean, I'll be honest, I'll listen to country music, even the pop country shit, if I'm drunk enough. I've been so addicted to getting Dutch Bros, it's starting to become a problem. It's crazy because I never used to like energy drinks. Dutch Bros. At first I was like, what is a Dutch Bro? I thought you were like, meant like a Dutch oven. Do I own any chains? I never really, I've been thinking about getting some chains, but never really been into it. Never been one for flash. My friend says, like, bro, you gotta go flashy. And the flashiest I've gotten is like, the flashiest I've gotten is just the Pokemon bullshit. If the World Cup was a psyop, what would be its function? I mean, I thought they were going to abduct everyone. But honestly, who knows? Maybe, guys, maybe that's the thing. If we get enough people talking about what's going to happen before it happens, maybe it doesn't happen because it takes away from how much it hits. Norway should do a parasite cleanse. Honestly, after visiting America, everyone should. We got shit crawling out of our assholes. Either global warming or microplastics will kill me, I figure. What if it gets chilly? What if it gets too chilly? That could do it too. These types of coffee shops are taking over. 7 Brew, Dutch Bros, Scooters, all of them. I'm not familiar with any of that. Is that even on the East Coast? Yeah, we'll do an alien invasion tomorrow. Dude, I just turned 25. Does it get any slower? What, life? Or time? No, dude. I'm not joking when I say, like, time speeds the fuck up. Enjoy 25 to 30 as much as you possibly can. Not saying, like, you can't stay, like, pretty much the same, you know, for the next 10 years, maybe even longer. But I'm just saying, like, once you hit 30, something about time just fucking flies. So you might as well just, like, fill your time up with new experiences and new shit. And try to get good at all of it. We're a video game for the rich. It must be cool. You just did 70 squats. Let's fucking go. How's it feeling? Honestly, people say, like, if you ever want to, like, just quickly normalize your sugar after a meal, just do a bunch of air squats and you'll be good. Because it pulls all the shit into your muscles. Ever had a coffee made in a maca pot? No, I have not. What's that? I think it's funny how all the foreigners were going crazy are crazy engineered foods. I mean, honestly, American food is not greatly admired. I mean, unless you can just cook it yourself and know exactly where your ingredients are coming from. And I bring into question our organic stuff as well. Bro, you really love Pokemon? Yeah, I mean, I'm not like crazy, but lately it's just kind of been a hobby I've been getting back into. I'm starting to realize as I get older, it's like the reason you were inclined towards certain things from a young age is because that's what you were into, you know? You're into Pokemon, you're into a sport, you're into some particular creative outlet. Like, so many people think that the things you enjoyed as a child should just disappear. No, dude, I say sit your ass down and watch some fucking Bear in the Big Blue House. Fuck it, man. If it brings you joy, do whatever the fuck you want. Life's too short to give a hoot. Diddy. Is Diddy back? Diddy's back, folk. He's out of jail. Squirtle's the best Pokemon. Squirtle is pretty sweet. I question those as well, but at a point you gotta question yourself until you go crazy. What are we questioning? I don't even remember. Before someone could taint your pure enjoyment of a thing. I know, honestly, I blamed it on middle school and puberty. There was so many cool shit that I liked, and then thought that because now I like girls that I can't do it or I'm a dork. But honestly, sometimes people just need to just stick with whatever fucking strange fixation they have, as long as they keep themselves healthy. Hey Joe, how did you get rid of the ants last time? I woke up to ants today going up and down the stairs. I mean, there's different traps you can get. They kind of smell like peanut butter, which is interesting, so don't eat them yourself. But there's different like poisonous traps, like ant houses, that you can put along their pathways, and then hopefully they take that poison back to the queen and fucking kill that bitch. What question do you want people to ask you? I don't care, honestly. I like philosophical questions and weird abstract questions. I really don't mind any question though. I know I got upset that one stream, but honestly, what was I even mad about? I don't remember. And all is forgiven and forgotten, dude. I used to paint and draw as a kid, and then I went into engineering as an adult, and now I'm back to painting and drawing, and I love it. Yeah, dude, same. Like, I was a artsy-fartsy, nartsy-lartsy kid, and then I went to nursing school thinking, like, oh, I need to lock in and get, like, a job, which, you know, sometimes you need a job to, like, secure what, you know, to do it bounce. That's a good question. And it tremors. But it trembles at the thought of you being behind me. But yeah, you know, I was into artsy-fartsy shit, and then I did the schooling thing, and then I'm glad I have the job, but, you know, you're always gonna, listen, you can't swim upstream. Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys? Am I right or am I right? Let me know. You cannot swim upstream. You gotta go with the flow. You gotta go where you're led. It is in our DNA. I mean, I'm not advocating for serial killers, but, you know, serial killers are going to end up doing what they do anyways, so might as well get arrested now. Turn yourself in. Look at that. I just saved society from 2,000 potential murderers. Am I afraid of the dark? You know, sometimes I am kind of like low-key afraid of the dark. It just, like, I guess I objectively speaking, if I just accept that I am one with the dark, then I don't care anymore. But there might be some times where you're, like, laying in bed and you can't see what the fuck is over in that corner, and your imagination is, even as an adult, is still so strong, you're like, oh, fuck, dude. You have a self-administered protocol? Propofol? Propofol? Wait, what's propofol? That's for... Is that... the shit that knocks you out? Or is that for wiping stuff? Isn't that for wiping stuff down? Oh, it's reading time. You guys want me to read something? What will happen to your YouTube account in, say, 500 years? You and everyone else right now that will be seen as ancient. You know, that's a great question, actually, because I imagine, like, these accounts are going to continue. Oh, dude, that's actually so crazy to think about. YouTube's a pretty new phenomenon right now, but you guys could probably actually write, like, a fictional story in which, like, I don't know how interesting it would be, but I'm sure you could find a way to make it interesting. But basically, YouTubers are passing away, like, we'll say PewDiePie or whatever, and PewDiePie passes his channel on down to, like, Bjornson or whatever his son's name is, Bjork. And you could pass it down that way, but say it's just, like, something so the person after them is so far away from what they do content-wise that basically you're going to pass YouTube channels down through, like, your will and that kind of stuff. Your Deviant Art account is 24 years old. Are you still a deviant? Has anybody ever seen a spirit or ghost apparition, whatever you want to call it? That's a good question. Anybody seen any of them shits? Or do they be getting sucked up with the back? Oh yeah, my friend asked a good question earlier. Like, if you have a Roomba, does a Roomba ever accidentally suck up a ghost into it? Which made me think that would actually make, like, a fun video game where you just have, like, vacuum cleaners to, like, keep ghosts from taking over your house, but then, like, to monitor certain areas you have certain Roombas on patrol just sucking up little spirits. You don't believe in anything paranormal? Well, you better start believing. You're in one. You're in a ghost. I made a YouTube channel so my daughter could watch me when I'm gone. I don't care about massive subs. Oh, that's smart too, yeah. Alright, guys. We got stories with families with dark pasts. It's a good one. Well, it's not exactly the same as, like, every topic, like the Luigi game. Essentially like the Luigi game, but if you think about it, the Luigi game kind of borrowed that idea from other, like, the idea of sucking up a ghost into a vacuum cleaner is not entirely Luigi, right? So I still feel like if you do it in sort of a tower defense manner, like, that could be pretty Fun. When I was little, I thought the ghosts opened the door. That ghost opens the doors, and I was freaking out and told my sister, but my sister said it was a wind. It was a wind. It was a singular wind. She was passing wind at that time. What's up, Max? PSA, if you don't use a bidet, you have a poop spirits follow you. That's a good point. Sometimes you go to flush your shit down the toilet and then it like calls you dada or mama before you send it off to the sewers, to the mines. What do you think poop's doing down there? Do you think they put your shit to like work as soon as it gets down into the underground? I remember one night I saw a ghost standing under the streetlight across the street standing, and later that night I saw someone standing in the corner of my room. That's pretty freaky. I remember going on like a date with a girl. I felt pretty bad for her, but she like, it took her like 1 or 2 dates, but she like genuinely once I told her about like my YouTube stuff, she was like, oh shit, well then I have to tell you, like I suffer from like schizophrenia and that kind of thing. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I literally would have no idea she had suffered from schizophrenia just, like, seeing her, you know? You think some people that do it, like, can't live normal lives or whatever. But she would just, like, talk about the shit that she would see. And it generally sounded like she was, like, haunted by some shit. I'm not even joking. I guess that, but I don't know. I sometimes wonder, like, the difference between schizophrenia and actual, like, hauntings. They walked across the room into the wall and went through. I heard the basement door slam and someone run down the stairs. I thought my brother and he hadn't come home that night. It's a match. Ever wonder if someone out there is tripping on salvia stuck on a toilet for 35 years? Probably. They'd probably turn into the poop that gets taken down to the gulag, the poo log. Oh, there's Jersten. What's up, Jersten? Are you in Germany? Or not Germany. Japan. She sounded like a sloppy jalopy. I don't know. She was like had all of her shit together and was pretty normal. Whatevs. As a kid, I was very sensitive to ghosts. My friend asked me when I was older, do they still show up? I'm like, they don't talk to me anymore. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like ghosts or demons? Question mark. I really don't think I could handle seeing a ghost, though. I think it would just be, like, way too much for my brain. You're back and you did... Wait, how long were you gone for? That doesn't even seem like a proper duration of time to be gone for a trip to cross the world. Shorn, what's up, buddy? I'm doing good. I take my German class before. Yeah, my my buddy who has the daughters... he told me that, I didn't even know, but in 2008 he went to Germany to study abroad and was there for their World Cup back then, where they almost beat Italy or something. And I was like, damn, that sounds like the greatest trip ever. Hey man, I love the channel, but I'm gonna have to apologize in advance for how vague I'm gonna be here, because this whole thing already caused a ton of crap from my family and I. I'm talking the kind of crap I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy, and since I can't have it pre-ordered GTA 6, nah, dude. Dude, I'm gonna wait till GTA 6 comes out before I buy it, because if it turns out to be just like dumb poop slop as far as the writing goes, then... Because like sometimes I listen just for fun on my way to the gym lately to the GTA Vice City like radio stations with the commercials and the music and all that kind of stuff, and it just brings me back. And dude, you know, some of the radio stations and shit that are in GTA were so fucking funny. And if they can't match that funny, right? If they can't match that funny, or they try to hold back because they're afraid to hurt someone's fifis, then I don't consider it Grand Theft Auto. And it will disgust me to such a degree that I'm just not even going to waste my time. Anyways. I'm talking the kind of crap I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. And since I can't have it happening again, I'm going to try and stay as faceless as possible here. So I was born into a family that had been very lucky when it comes to finances. We've had a bunch of money in the family going back generations, but for the longest time, all I knew was that it came from a forefather being a successful merchant back in covered wagon times. History wasn't my thing growing up, and my family didn't talk about it much either, so I didn't really know squat about it until just after I turned 16. And it all started on a Sunday morning. On my birthday, Dad told me that I could get a learner's permit and he'd buy me a car if I kept my grades up at school. And so I'm still walking on air as I pass Mom on the way to do her little grocery run. She made a joke about how I'd be driving her soon, and I was just like the Cartman in that South Park episode when he's lying on a pile of money just saying, "Yeah," with his big dumb smile on his face. I don't know if you remember that one, but after she left, I walked into the kitchen to make myself some breakfast. And then a minute later, all I heard was her honking her horn, and not just like a quick beep. It was like those long, prolonged, solid blasts. So me, my dad, and my two brothers went running out the door and down the driveway to see what had happened. And at first, I remember being terrified that some kind of freak car accident had killed her. I breathed a huge sigh of relief when I saw that she and her car were fine, but she was standing on the road with the door open, pointing at the wall outside of our house, and with her jaw practically grazing the ground. Because spray painted on the side, and in massive dark red letters, someone had written, "Blood Money Pigs are gonna pay." It was kind of scary at first because while Blood Money Pigs is a cool name for some industrial metal band, it is not what you want to see spray painted on the... Oh, I thought it was written on the car. I'm gonna watch Citizen Vigilante. It's a newly released movie. It's been outright banned in Germany because it sends a powerful message about what's currently happening in the world. What's it about? Banned in Germany. Hi, Joel. Listening from Raleigh, North Carolina. We love your work here. Thank you, Michael. Good to see you. Chieftain on some ice cream, cake, hybrid, indica, dominant, listening to the Buttersauce cult leader, Joel. Thank you, Sarah. Joel, I love you. My favorite voice to fall asleep to, but I mean, I like listening to you while awake, too, either way. Thank you, Melinda. Appreciate you. You guys are so nice. Your husband playing GTA 5 right now? Let's fucking go, dude. GTA 6 is going to get delayed again and be as much of a disappointment as Cyberpunk. That's what makes me sad sometimes too, is realizing that the same people that kind of like suck at writing in video games right now or movies are the same sort of minds or hive mind that gets together to sort of like, produce the games as well and do the development stuff. That's not saying that it's always that way, but it's just, you kind of have to think that if there's certain people that can't think outside of the realm of like Twitter, then they probably don't have a lot of like just innate skills pertaining to certain things because of the limitations of their own perspective of reality. Just like the Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in the Elder Scrolls 6 or really anything. I mean, Halo sucks. Everything fucking sucks, It's like everything is just getting shitified and worse every day. But one game I actually am excited for, I don't know if you guys saw this game, but it's called War Dogs. Has anybody seen War Dogs? I saw some gameplay for War Dogs, and it actually looks like this perfect sort of like mix between like a milsim and like Call of Duty. I'm not like a huge Call of Duty person at all. Like I don't play it ever anymore. But War Dogs actually looks sick, and the way that the rounds work, kind of like money with like CS:GO and stuff. I'm like down with this. I just filed for direct deposit my checks today. That's exciting. It's a movie about justice and revenge about a guy who goes after immigrants who rape innocent girls, corrupt government figures. It's bad. Really? That's such like a weird timing related to the fact that what's so strange? Like, the fact that they dropped that like 250,000 girls in the UK or whatever, that 290, like the grooming gang thing, and then they release a movie. I'll be honest with you guys, like that my conspiratorial part of my brain is going a little bit nuts when it comes to a lot of this stuff, where like if you just look at the timeline, You know what I mean? Like, okay, we got 9/11, and then we have the war in the Middle East, which was just like, you know, a decade or two of just like destabilizing everything in that region. And then you hear about like the sort of logistical system that these NGOs use to, like, you know, transport like large amounts of the migrants and that kind of thing into all the various Western nations. And like, it wouldn't be that hard, in my opinion, to like obviously like there will be organic things happening, but it really wouldn't be too hard if you really think about it to like do a few false flag style like attacks on the locals, but then have like also reverse false flag attacks on like the housing sectors or whatever. Kind of like, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened in Belfast for sure, but there's just a part of my brain that goes a little crazy where I'm like, it almost seems like they're trying to like foment a degree of civil conflict, so that like basically once the civil conflict starts, no matter whether it's from people outside the country or inside the country, basically all that really does is continue to centralize power to the government, if that makes sense. Because think about it, like if people are fighting with each other, then the government immediately has to say, well, they're already doing it where they censor people and that kind of thing. But then on top of that, you can expand the surveillance state, you can expand the security state, you can expand everything. So to me, it almost seems like this is all part of some like larger ongoing thing. If you take into consideration the greater context, it really is like a rock and a hard place for a lot of people. And I don't know. I guess these are the types of intelligence operations that are like above my pay grade, but it's fucking insane. Crazy shit. Crazy world we live in, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, you got to look out for yourself. Just stay safe out there, protect yourself, and try not to get too pulled into the divisionary aspects, whether it's political parties or whether it's like racial, chaos. Yeah, order out of chaos. That's how it always is. It's like the phoenix rises from the ashes types things, and that's how they restructure everything from the dawn of time. If you want to centralize power and restructure governments, you cause chaos so that you can change the laws. Like, it's just, it's problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Anytime you see anything on the news, just think, what's the problem? What's the reaction? What's the solution? And does it come from all the same place? Does it come from the exact same origins each time? It's the oldest trick in the book. Sent a drone that was a run drone to a British base that harmed British troops to rope England into the war. I mean, I wouldn't be fucking surprised, man. Everything is just to like rope us into another fucking ongoing conflict. I don't exactly know what the current terms are with this Iranian conflict as far as the ceasefire goes, but I mean, a lot of people say to be prepared for some sort of like false flag attack, that pulls us or ropes us into something larger. And what scares me the most is like, to what degree is our own government sort of like complicit with it? You know what I mean? To what degree are they kind of like coordinating that with some like larger hive mind group? And what the fuck can you do as some individual? I hate to be so black-pilled all the time, because I am very, very black-pilled, observing basic pattern recognition for years and years. But the only solution I can think is it starts small. It starts with you and your mind, your daily actions. It extends outwards into your family and the connections you have, and then it extends even further out to your community. So if you can make a good community with strong laws that are separate from, the governing bodies around you, you can really do anything. It just builds out from there, right? Do you believe in karma? I guess so. I mean, maybe not in like a wildly ambiguous way, but and take the white pill. I mean, I'd love to be super optimistic, and some friends do try to keep me optimistic in some fashion, but like I said, my greatest like white pill as far as optimism goes is just knowing that I have control over my own destiny, even if that is a little bit even if like destiny in and of itself sort of insinuates that there's no choice in the matter, at least it feels like I have a choice within this like timeline of reality, believing in karma is cope, in my opinion. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people will sit there and say, like, whoa, those politicians or those whatevers or the guy that hurt me when I was in, out in the streets is going to have to face the wrath of God one day. But it's like, I mean, you can, like, turn the other cheek. But at the same time, if you think about it, the turn the other cheek sort of concepts is such a, I don't even know. I often ponder if it's I ponder if it's even actually a biblical consideration. Like, sure, you can turn the other cheek, but I mean, at the same time, it's like you should be, like, wouldn't you rather be a warrior in a garden than, like, what's the other saying? Like a peaceful person existing in, like, a prison where you just basically can't defend yourself at all. Like, I would much rather keep the garden beautiful through a controlled knowledge that my force will keep things peaceful. The white pill's always a suppository. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm sorry to yammer on about a bunch of shit, but Jesus never meant that for the reason of self-preservation. Right. I mean, like, at the same time, you look at what's so funny is you look at Jesus, like, in his story, look at the things that he was so disgusted by. He was disgusted whenever the Pharisees were, like, the religious, spiritual leaders in the community, but they were also very politically powerful. He found that disgusting. The fact that, like, they ruled over people with, like, political power, but also ruled over them through the coercion of basically saying that they're the only ones that can commune with God, and you listen to us or, you won't be, I don't know, cleansed or whatever the specific context of the religion was. But, and then in the same way, turning, a house of worship into a den of vipers because they were, like, money lenders and merchants and all that kind of stuff when they're flipping the tables, bringing a whip, all that kind of stuff. Like, sometimes you have to, there's a degree of a show of force necessary, within reason, within legal reason, to maintain the peace. Like, that's just how things kind of need to be. And so it's so much more important to be a strong person than someone who just, like, rolls over and thinks that you're, like, I remember hearing a story about a girl who, like, allowed the person that murdered her mom to come in and fucking, like, still work in her house, and then ends up murdering her too. And I'm just like, I don't think that was wise, no matter how much people want to sit there and pretend it's some sort of, like, moralistic whatever. But the concept of, like, suicidal empathy that you hear about a lot lately, where people are so empathetic towards individuals to the extent that it gets them killed, like, you need to throw that fucking mindset out the window as soon as possible, because it literally will just get you battered and bruised and dead. Love your neighbor as the other fellow person who believes in God, not someone who will piss on the Bible for $5. Yeah. Anyways. It was kind of scary at first because, while Blood Money Pigs is a cool name for an industrial metal band, it is not what you want to see spray painted on the wall of your house. But then once... Excuse me. Hey, Finksy. Karma is the energies of the universe leaving an impact on the effects, the outcome of the future. It's not about the universe enacting revenge on your behalf. Oh, okay, so it's like setting into motion, like a butterfly effect kind of thing. What is the Silly Goose segment of the stream? Oh, it's fucking already started. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great time. Joel popped in to smash the like button. I can't help myself. Hello, Joel. Hello, Karen. Good to see you. Do you think Jesus will return, or is it a metaphor for a Christ awakening in the world? I don't know. I mean, I like to have I like to have faith that, like, the person of Christ and the spirit of, the triune God is the, divine reality of things. I do like to think that. Do I know it completely? I'd like to have faith that it is as such, but I also understand that it's very hard to know things in reality sometimes. And all you can, that's kind of the idea of faith, right? Is just trusting in things you don't know. So it is what it is, man. It's up to you. Christian, you should have a community. Christianity isn't a race. They can be anywhere in the world. Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever I heard about, like, you hear about the bombings in Lebanon, like, a lot of that is, like, targeting Christians and all that kind of stuff. You don't realize, I mean, isn't, like, Lebanon, like, 60% Christian? Anyone of Christ will show you examples of what it's like being of Christ. For sure. Christ said the power of God is in the temple of your body. I think it meant humans will have to awaken themselves. Well, I mean, oftentimes people think that there's some sort of esoteric message to Jesus, which I totally get. But I mean, like, the message that Christ, the overall context of the Bible being like you're separated from God through sin and then reconnected through God through the accepting of the sacrifice of Christ, seems to be what the message is. You know what I mean? Other interpretations of that, I guess it sort of gets relatively ambiguous. But then once we thought about it, we figured it was probably some jealous a-hole wanting to vandalize a nice neighborhood, and we just so happened to be the unlucky house that they chose to dirty up, so to speak. Yet while he wouldn't share anything with us until much later, it wasn't long before my dad started to suspect their choice of target wasn't so random. And that's because after washing and repainting the wall so it looked good as new, the exact same thing happened maybe 2 to 3 weeks later. Sunday morning, Mom goes on her grocery run, then someone else had sprayed on the wall. It's hard to read for some reason. I got accused of suicidal empathy the other day online. I get it, but it was stupid as hell. What was the context? Because you said that you would live with a velociraptor just for the scientific aspects of it. You said you could tame the velociraptor. Wart. Sunday morning, Mom goes on her little grocery run, then something else had been spray painted on the wall. Blood on your hands, it said. Now, it was clear we were being targeted for some reason because no one else in the neighborhood ever reported any vandalism, but all we could really focus on at the time was why us. Mom was a homemaker and pretty popular with the other moms at school and around the neighborhood too, so it wasn't like she had any serious enemies. And then Dad spent his time running a charitable foundation that, long story short, was financed by the money his investment group made. He worked with sick kids, animal shelters, the homeless, you name it. Anyone who needed the help in, let's just say, the general vicinity, Dad could be counted on to show up with an oversized check for a handshake and a photo. Naturally, he too was a very popular man. So how in the name of all hell did we have blood on our hands? Mom and Dad ended up getting involved, and Dad paid to have some fancy security attached to the front gate. Security camera. Shit. What was that sound? I think it was supposed to be what they wrote for the honking of the horn. My friend went into psychosis and tried to burn his parents' house down. His parents are controlling and egged him on. It was on a news release of what happened, and everyone was just making fun of him. Oh, so you were like having empathy for him, and that's tough, man. When I was homeless, I went into the gas station to use the bathroom, and I used to see a real homeless. I had a car. I'm like, hey, you hungry, and buy them food just because no one judging. Yeah. Try to sleep. Don't spill too much tea. I'll stay up late. No worries, nipples. Take care. Mom and Dad ended up getting involved, and Dad paid to have some fancy security camera attached to the front gate. But then whoever was vandalizing the wall must have noticed, because the first thing they did the next time they showed up was spray the camera lens so it couldn't see them writing, "Kelsey Scum, leave town," on the outside wall of our house. Now, they didn't just graffiti that time either. These vandals poured a bunch of gas or something over the wall and then set fire to the plants at the side of our driveway, most likely in the hopes that the whole place would catch fire and burn down. Like I said, Dad already had his suspicions regarding why we were being targeted, but it wasn't until the Kelsey incident that he had them confirmed. Yet he still kept Mom and us in the dark, and the meaning behind the Kelsey name was lost in the confusion. And by that I mean none of it made sense, so it's not like the name clicked with us like it did with Dad. He started paying for security to watch the street outside our house, which basically involved a pair of dudes taking turns keeping watch 24/7. And it was one of those security guys that chased off someone who was likely trying to follow us to school in the morning to see which ones me and my brothers went to. And that was the going theory, at least. We didn't have it 100% confirmed, but it was still enough to scare Mom and Dad into moving us out of that house for a while, at least until the cops could figure out what was going on. But like I said, Dad kind of knew what was going on. He just didn't tell our mother until we were safely someplace else. My brothers and I find out a whole other story too, but since it's way longer and takes place years after the graffiti stuff, I'll just write this like you're my mom finding out after we moved. So, sometime in the early 1840s, two of my ancestors made the journey from Kentucky to California. Andrew and Benjamin Kelsey bought cattle rights to a stretch of land near Clear Lake from some Mexican guy who worked with a local Pomo? I thought it said porno. Whoopsies, a little typo there. Typo. Stoked for Vice City. Are they remaking Vice City? 1840, yeah, looks like they got some family history. Guys, I don't know. Can you guys do me a favor? Can anybody with like a discerning mind, without bias, and maybe a little bit of detective intuition, can you look into that movie that someone mentioned earlier that was being released in Germany, that is now banned in Germany or whatever? Because I'm curious as to find out who the production company is and like who's funding it. Because if you can get to the bottom of who's funding it, you might be able to like add to the theory that it's almost like trying to foment division amidst the population to create some sort of like conflict internally, you know what I'm saying? So I believe all of your beloved minds will come to a good conclusion. All right, Carol Williamson, thank you for the 5 gifters. To Karen Root, Amy Jarrell Bunny Girl, Jennifer Miracle, Max Hurst, Tiffany Watkins. Hey Nikki, what's up? Minions and Monsters? Welcome back, Nikki. Follow the money. We had an earthquake this morning, but I didn't really notice it was north of me. Everyone's earthquake alerts went off on their phones. Crazy morning. Where was that at? California? We have a burp and a rant and a religion and video games. Also, we talk about Pokemon cards. I hope that catches on your bingo card. Yeah, you guys gotta take 1,000 shots. Just kidding. I think that's what's so terrifying to me about intelligence operations, is that sometimes they're so far-reaching and they have so many different like little pieces that fall all at the right time, that the person that has to like contemplate all of these particular timelines for these particular operations to occur, it's just like, it almost feels like it has to either, you have to like have future tech to see the future, or you have to have an AI or an intelligence apparatus that's just like so incredibly effective. And especially whenever those like sort of things that might kind of feel cathartic initially, like a story being released where like finally we get the truth about whatever, but in reality it's just trying to create further division amidst the ranks, you know what I mean? You have 221 viewers, tough to scroll back, though it is possible. Oh, no worries. I'm sure you could look it up on Google. What's your favorite videos to make? Definitely paranormal, I would say. And we are doing paranormal as bonus content this coming weekend. Isn't God an intelligence operation? Certainly could be. They're trying to create God with AI, aren't they? General artificial intelligence or whatever it is. Or AIG? AGI? The only thing you need to see the future is eyes. Joe, I wanted to say that you've been a major part of my life. I've been listening to you for about 8 years, got me through lots of tough times. I hope you don't ever stop doing this. Thank you, Nikki. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening for so long. That's crazy. Justin is a snitch. Justin is... You know what's worse about Justin? When you find out that he's a gosh dang tattletale. I remember me and him went to kindergarten together, and I shit my pants, and he told everybody. Now, granted, I guess that's not necessarily tattletale behavior, but he did know what I was going to do with that poopy diaper if I got my hands in there. All right. Andrew and Benjamin Kelsey bought a cattle ranch... Andrew and Benjamin Kelsey bought cattle rights to a stretch of land near Clear Lake from a Mexican guy who worked with the local Pomo Indians to drive his herds. But when the Kelsey brothers took charge, assisted by a man named Charlie Stone, they weren't nearly as friendly with the Indians as the Mexican was. See, they came from Kentucky, which was a slave state, a place where it was very much a work or die type mentality, and while the Pomo wouldn't work for free, Andrew Kelsey paid wages that his own self would have found straight up insulting. Now, once they were set up, his brother Ben returned to some ranch. I don't know what that means, but he actually made a Let's Read bingo card. That's awesome. Joel actually hates my guts, but his mom promised a new Game Boy if he played with the weird kid. I thought she said I had to beat you with a stick. If you beat that kid with a stick, I'll give you a fucking Game Boy. Wait, Justin, did you actually go to Japan in that short period of time? I mean, I guess it might have been a week. That just doesn't seem like a good amount of time for Japan. You need to kind of live there, I think. Also, you kind of don't realize how depressing it is to actually be Japanese. Like, Japan might be the absolute perfect place to visit for some people, but whenever you hear about all the horror stories of just like living there and like the pressure it is to be, exist within the culture, how they basically never accept anyone from the outside, at least in the long term, and then to be one of them is essentially impossible because it's just like there's so much pressure to perform that anything outside of that is just might as well be death. Funny Japanese man tweet about Mexican restaurant. A Japanese tourist culture shock at a Mexican restaurant. Okay, yeah, this is it right here. This is just such a funny tweet. And it's from a Japanese guy. And he tweets this. USA, a Mexican restaurant. We had not yet ordered anything, and the food was already arriving. Chips, salsa, unrequested, free. I stopped the waiter. We have not earned these. They just come with the table, man. Wait, where's the rest of this tweet? Son of a B. I thought there was more to the tweet. God, I fucking hate the internet, dude. Like, you ever find something on like a fucking article website? They are not going to give you what you want. Oh, here we go. This is during the World Cup. I stopped the waiter. We have not earned these. They just come with the table, man. They come with the table. In my land, hospitality is a debt. Every gift creates an obligation, weighed carefully, returned in proper season with interest of feeling. Here, the gift arrives before you even have proven you can pay for dinner. This is not an appetizer. This is a declaration. We trust you. Eat. I ate with the gravity the moment deserved. And then, I must report this calmly, the basket emptied and a new one appeared. Did we? Refill, the waiter said. Is bottomless. Bottomless. They have wells of salsa. The supply lines of this nation are beyond anything my ancestors imagined. My friend warned me, don't fill up on chips, dude. Too late. I had accepted 3 baskets. Honor demanded each one be finished. An unfinished gift is an insult. By the time my actual food arrived, I was a ruined man. I was not hungry. I was not comfortable. I had been defeated by a courtesy. Generosity that arrives before the request cannot be repaid. It can only be survived. I know the rule now. I have made my peace with the basket. 1 basket, 2 at the most. Who am I deceiving? There is no number of baskets I would refuse. The trust of a nation is in that salsa, and I intend to honor all of it. So that was just like the greatest tweet I'd ever heard ever, and it just kind of like lately I've been like just having my perspective placed on just how interesting Japanese culture is. Queen Gemini, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. That's why you take the entree home. Chips and salsa should always be your main meal when free. True, exactly. You should just take a whole bag of chips with you and a fucking bucket of salsa as a meal. Day's going good, Cod Boy. How you doing? Joel, should do an epic tweet reading session. I mean, I kind of stole it from an Instagram post I saw, but it was just so funny. I think you're very correct with your theory that all people call Joel are the best. Was speaking to a very gorgeous Joel today, and he was very lovely. Theory proven correct. Yeah, I don't know any Joels that are of poor quality. Like, really, to be born with the name Joel, you kind of have to, like, go above and beyond. It's almost like you have to bring people a basket of chips and salsa before they even ask for it. It's just, there's something about having a name like Joel that both forces living up to a certain legacy, but also puts you at an, interesting disadvantage. So you really have to step up to the plate if you want to be a true Joel. POV, my first time at Olive Garden, I thought you had to pay for the breadsticks, so I didn't eat any. That's fine. They watch you. How many did you eat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the fuck? 6. You know what, Joel? He escaped Mormonism. See? He knew. Also, did you guys remember the bricks and minifigs? The bricks and minifigs situation is crazy, but I don't know if you saw that, but did you know that the bricks and minifigs scenario was like loosely tied to Mormonism? Or like was like a Mormon-owned place, and then the Mormon police like showed up and did Mormon shit? I don't know, it just seems really strange. Their fault for trying to fill you up with chips. How am I supposed to eat 3 enchiladas after eating 20-minute wait time? That's true. It's really, the chips are there to test discipline. Because honestly, it could be a trap. You could stick your whole hand in that chip thing and it could just be a giant fucking bear trap in there waiting to cut your arm off. Okay. Once they were set up, his brother Ben returned to some ranch they had and left Andrew and Charlie Stone to deal with the Pomo. And deal with them they did. One day, a disagreement between Charlie Stone and a Pomo warrior almost turned violent. Andrew Kelsey managed to defuse the situation and promised the Pomo better treatment. But just before dawn the next morning, he and Charlie rode around with their rifles, confiscating all the Pomo's weaponry at gunpoint. And after that, since the Pomo had no viable means of defending themselves, the two men ramped the mistreatment up to 11 and started cussing out or horsewhipping the Pomo whenever they were working too slow or did something wrong. And this went as well as you might imagine, and ended with the Pomo laying siege to the house Kelsey and Stone had built, which was apparently more like a fortress by that point, as they had an idea. Aren't 4 chips equivalent to 1 corn tortilla? I don't know, we have to do the math. What's the exchange rate on tortilla to chips? Goal for Mexico. Jigsaw running a fat camp. Jigsaw running a fat camp. Pomo. Pomo is like the Native American tribe. We're like backwards in time right now, on like a flashback of like his family's history or some shit. Which was apparently more like a fortress by that point, as they had an idea that the Pomo might rise up. Which is like a whole other level of a-hole, right? Now anyway, it's all going to hell down at Clear Lake, and somehow news of this got to Andrew's brother Ben, who showed up with a posse to chase the Pomo off. And while Ben was definitely exploiting his own band of Pomo... Exploiting his own band. Go, 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 go. And while Ben was definitely exploiting his own band of Pomo back on his own ranch, he wasn't nearly as much of an a-hole as his brother. Not at first, anyway. To defuse the situation, he promised the Pomo generous pay if they'd hunt down a band of native cattle rustlers who had been bothering him. Where it turns out these rustlers had been bothering the Pomo too, so not only were they... Favorite genre is paranormal, right? Yeah, I think so. Just because I find it the most interesting. Sometimes you get some absolute bangaroonies. But these are interesting too, hearing about people's like family history that's dark. Can you do New Orleans stories for one of these days? I have a lot of paranormal witchcraft, voodoo, vampirism. That would be good. Can look into it. Could you imagine out mogging your baby? What the fuck do you do if your baby is chopped for real? Did you just give birth to a chopped baby, Justin? Chad, I want to get a Let's Read tattoo. Give me some good quotes that I can use. Oh shit. You could get my tagline. Lulling you into beautiful nightmares. But get it in Latin. No, I'm just kidding. Well, turns out these rustlers had been bothering the Pomo too. So not only were they too happy to hunt them down, but they dropped their dispute with Andrew after getting a big pile of cash from Benjamin. And before he left, Benjamin also warned his brother to start treating the Pomo better, or they'd do the same thing and rise up all over again. You think he might have taken his older brother's advice, but Andrew's dumbass went right back to the same old routine and treated those Indians like crap again. With the help of a bunch of ranch hands he hired, Kelsey took the Pomo's weapons away again. But that time, he also took away their fishing gear too, meaning they were entirely reliant on him for all their food and other essentials, and he gave them next to nothing. This went on for a while, and then when a young Pomo boy asked for another cup of wheat to feed a sick mom, Charlie Stone shot him dead on the spot to make an example of him to the others. Having gotten word of how the same pattern of mistreatment was playing out again, Ben Kelsey rode over to his brother's land and hired 50 Pomo men to take part in a gold mining expedition. But after Ben got sick with malaria, the Pomo stayed put and ended up getting picked off one by a combination of malaria and hostile tribes. Ben didn't mean any of them to die, but when word reached their families, they became incredibly angry. And then after a Pomo girl went missing for a few days, they turned up again saying that Andrew had been keeping her prisoner and using her as a love slave, and the crap well and truly, at that point, hit the fan. A Pomo chief snuck into Andrew's gunpowder store before dawn one morning and poured water all over it to make it unusable. And then once the sun came up, a band of warriors attacked Andrew's house with bows and arrows that they'd been making in secret. They took him by a complete surprise and had him shot full of arrows. Queef Sweat, thank you for the 2. Boner, yo. Thank you, Queef. Straight up boner. Let's read so. Yeah, what would be my Japanese channel name? Did you ever come across a cow's tongue nailed to a tree in a forest? No? Okay. It was in one of the stories we read. Wait, Misty, didn't you have surgery or something? How did that go? They took him by complete surprise and had him shot full of arrows before he even had time to react. Charlie Stone ended up shooting down a couple of warriors, and then he tried escaping by jumping out of a window but hurt himself on landing. He tried running, but he obviously couldn't. And then after easily running him down, and this is according to my dad, the Pomo warriors... God. I just had like a vision in my head of my phone exploding. I'm gonna set it over somewhere else. I'm from Southeast Louisiana. My family is from New Orleans. They're tired of hearing about vampires in New Orleans. Before Anne Rice's vamp books. I'm sorry if I misspelled her name. There wasn't. Okay, so like no sort of connection at all to it, or any sort of folklore or whatever. Let's go. Goal. Minor surgeries. Looked like it was a fight with a baby kangaroo, but I'm good. Worst part, it was a local anesthetic. Oh, okay. How the fuck did I know I was about to text you to initiate the bomb? I don't know. I saw like something the other day where it was basically just, it was relating to those like pagers that blew up. I forget what those guys from Hamas or whatever the fuck. And, or was it Hezbollah? I don't fucking know. But I was just thinking like, just imagine if like everybody in America, or maybe even worldwide, like just imagine like worldwide, everybody's cell phone exploding at one time. And just everyone is like maimed or hurt or some degree of something. And like that would not be super cool. Then, after easily running him down, and this is according to my dad, the Pomo warriors bashed his head in with a rock, as a way of saying that he was too low and dishonorable to be killed with regular weapons. A few weeks later, when Ben Kelsey heard about what happened, he rode down to Andrew's place with a hired posse to recover his body. And that's when the massacre really started, because as they went, they killed every single Pomo Indian they could find. Ben and his boys killed so many of them that on account of all the public outrage, they ended up getting arrested when they returned home. Dad said the case was the first ever to reach the California Supreme Court, but in the end, none of the men were ever tried for anything, and when the army refused to help him drive the Pomo out, Ben Kelsey threatened to take an even bigger posse out there to finish them off himself. In the end, the army sent out a bunch of cavalry to move the Pomo on, but their commander was very sympathetic to Ben's story and had no intention of peacefully moving anybody off the land. When he and his men found the Pomo camp, they found it defenseless, as mostly all the younger warriors were off on a big... How do I choose the mods for the stream? They have to go through a series of rigorous tests similar to Ninja Warrior. I just acquired a human skull. I'm pretty pumped about it. It belonged to a university. That's funny. I was thinking about that today. Like people that keep a human skull in their desk as like a memento mori. You know what I mean? Like knowing that your death will come. Give me back my skull. Okay, finally can access. It was only showing me the VOD of the ongoing stream. Oh yeah, you might have to click the button live. Sometimes it resets it. There aren't any actual mods. They're bots, by the way. Really? Child Dog is a bot. Justin's a bot. Lynn's a bot. Are you guys bots? Are you guys even my real friends? There was vampire folklore, but it was a lot different. There wasn't many, most of it being outside of New Orleans. Is it related to voodoo or no? When he and his men found the Pomo camp, they found it defenseless, as mostly all of the younger warriors were off on a big deer hunt someplace. They left only 400 pomo, mostly women, kids, and old people, and the army killed around half of them. The army also killed just less than 100 more pomo as they rode back to base camp, and while Ben Kelsey didn't directly take part in this, the greater part of the massacre, it can't be said that he didn't have a hand in it. Dad said that the way it was told to him when he was a kid, Ben Kelsey was basically cursed after that. He ended up selling his land in California, then moved the family to Mexico for some time, and then on to Texas, and it was there that, in a weird twist of vengeance, one of his daughters barely survived being violated and scalped by a Comanche warrior when their wagon was attacked. The ordeal scarred her mentally for life, and she was basically kept in the house all the time with no one allowed to see her because the sight of any strange person would send her into wild fits of screaming and crying. And to get away from the place that almost took his daughters from him, Ben moved the whole family back to California, where he got into the mining business, and he then spent his twilight years in Los Angeles before dying in the 1970s. In his 1970s. Off to watch soccer with me partner. Good night. See you, Finksy. Take care. Have fun. I'm a custodian for a college campus, and I work in the life science building, and I work on cadavers. It's so crazy seeing all the jerky bodies. Yeah. Yucky. I love winding down to sleep, and Joel's answers y'all questions. Thanks, Kalina. Good to see you. What's the theme of today's stories? It's just families with dark histories. The darkest of histories. And you're only like an hour late. It's all good. An hour went by pretty fast. Damn. He then spent his twilight years in Los Angeles before dying in his 70s in the 1880s. Benjamin Kelsey had made a ton of money by the time he died, and it was all shared out among his surviving kids, one of whom ended up being my grandpa's grandpa. He invested it wisely, the fortune kept on going, then by the time it was all handed off to my dad, he could afford to create the foundation and basically pay a bunch of people to manage all of his stocks and whatnot for him while still making stupid amounts of money. Now I'm not gloating, I'm just being real, and while I'm a prad pomo. It's not related to voodoo. One of the oldest stories has followed a French immigrant from France during the early years of Louisiana being a state. Now, dude, that actually sounds kind of sick. Like a story about vampires that leave France, you know, the setting of France, and come to like Louisiana. Like that juxtaposition of a vampire living in France and then eventually having to move to Louisiana actually sounds pretty cool. Joel, a robber broke into my sister's apartment and found a lovely surprise in her closet, a box of real skeleton. My grandfather was a surgeon who gifted to my sister. Did he take the skeleton? No, I'm not gloating. I'm just being real, and while I am proud of my dad for being sensible and not blowing the fortune, which does happen a lot, I guess all that money really can be traced back to a single source, which was the Kelsey brother mistreating and massacring the pomo while making a ton of money in the process. I guess someone figured that out and then traced the family line down right to my dad before deciding that they were going to try and get some late-in-the-game revenge on behalf of the natives. And while I don't condone what they did in the least, Cajun vampires. Crawdad, suck the blood out of Crawdad. And while I don't condone what they did, I can definitely understand why they were so mad when they read about the massacre, because I sure as hell was too. And as you can probably tell, I've done a lot of research on what the Kelseys did, and I've read a bunch of other books on the wider subject of U.S. Native relations. They vary wildly depending on where you're looking and when, and it's not always so black and white as people on Twitter want you to believe. But in the case of what they call the Bloody Island Massacre, it's clear to me that there were a bunch of Indians living relatively peaceful lives someplace, and then when these 3 American guys showed up, it signaled the doom of hundreds of innocent Native people. And that's just depressing and enraging. Joel, when are you gonna free my brothers and sisters? Brothers and sisters! When you complete your chores, which is digging an underground base for me. The French Quarter is perfect. Where's that? Interview with the Vampire, that one was good. Those gay guys made me cry. Wait, is that where they came from? France to where did they land? Am I dumb? Is that actually what happened in the movie? And that's just depressing and enraging and shameful in a way that I don't think I can put into words. It's obviously not mine or my dad's fault for what happened in It's obviously not mine or my dad's fault for what happened in the past, so I don't think we deserve to be targeted for what some guy did almost 200 years ago. But at the same time, I know for certain which charity I'm going to send a bunch of my inheritance to on the day it arrives. And that's the Lucy Moore Foundation, a non-profit organization founded to educate the public about what my ancestors did. It's named after a survivor of the massacre, a 6-year-old girl who hid underneath the lake, It's named after a survivor of the massacre, a 6-year-old girl who hid underwater in the lake and breathed through some kind of hollow reed so she didn't have to come up for air. And sometimes, I'd think I'd swap all that money that we got in our family just so she wouldn't have to go through. And sometimes, I think I'd swap all that money that we got in our family just so she wouldn't have to go through what she did. Most of the haunting stories are made up by the entertainment industry in New Orleans. There's a few actual players in New Orleans and they've been haunted or something like that. Okay. Interesting. I'm Acadian and Cajuns, and Acadians have the same ancestors. I'd be surprised if it was their vampire blood in there. Yeah, maybe. That's why I'm always sucking the blood out of crawdads. Or is that the poop? Is that a blood vein or the poop vein? I can't tell. Also, guys, I gotta drain the main vein as well, so be right back. Yeah, my main vein is the poop vein. Okay. And Stephen Byton, welcome to the Buttersock Call. You now have access to bonus content. Hey, there's Joni. What's up, Joni? Joe, you absolutely have got to stop pooping so much. I'm sorry. Weapons if a man pees while sitting down. Oh man, what does happen? I guess, like, every time you do it, your wiener gets a little bit smaller till it turns into a vagina. Or maybe there's like a little fish in the sewer that comes up and grabs it, nibbles off a piece. Okay, next story. We got 4 in this set. Carol, thank you for the 5s. Good evening, Joel Buttersock Cold. Good to be here finally. Been missing you all. Oh, is that like super delayed? Because I swear that you sent gifted subs like an hour ago. Men don't know how to sit properly to piss. They tend to create a crease in the bladder, then don't empty all the way. Those silly men. How do they not know what they're doing? Fucking amateur pissers. Might as well get him a diaper. Kendra, thank you for the 5 New Zealand bucks. As I'm waiting for the day Joel starts messaging the chat from the toilet. Shut up, y'all. I'm shitting. Okay. My name is Marie. I'm from France, and a few years ago, I decided to do some research on my family tree. To be specific, I wanted to know what my ancestors were doing around the time of the French Revolution, and my sister agreed it would be cool to know their story from that time, but strangely our mother didn't seem nearly as enthusiastic. She kept asking things like, "Why do you care? It was such a long time ago," or "Why are you wasting time on the past when you should be looking for a husband?" In a sense, I understood where she was coming from. I was single at the time, and my mother has always been very vocal about her desire for grandchildren. But I now know her questions were coming from a very different and much darker place in her mind. Tracing my great-grandparents was easy, but from there, things got more and more difficult until I hit a dead end. The earliest relative I could find was a woman named Marie-Louise Pauline Blancu. Joel, I'm an avid pisser. I can hit the toilet from 3 yards away. That's fucking sick. You can hit it laying down. There will be Let's Read themed funnels handed out for any women without a elongated wiener. Yeah, how do I say this word? Blanc. Marie-Louise Pauline Blanc. Okay. The earliest relative I could find was a woman named Marie-Louise Pauline Blanc, who died in 1850. If for some reason I couldn't find any records detailing the location or date of her birth. She had a few brothers and sisters, including Louise. Wait, they just have their names, but just reversed. There's Marie-Louise, and then Louise Marie. She had a few brothers and sisters, including Louise Marie, who died in Paris in 1881. Yet once again, there was no information on where or when she was born, only that the first records of her existence in France began in 1834, when she was already a grown woman. Record-keeping from the time is notoriously unreliable or frustratingly incomplete, so at the time, I didn't find anything overly unusual about the absence of information. But then I discovered Marie-Louise and Louise Marie, who I suspected of having a very uncreative mother, had another sibling, a brother named Jean-Pierre Pauline Blanc, who helped me figure out why there was no record of my family in France prior to the 1830s. Because Jean-Pierre hadn't died in France like his sisters. He'd died across the Atlantic in the storied city of New Orleans. I had no idea my ancestors were colonists, or that at least one of our family had made their way across the ocean to the New World. My sister was excited by the news and bid me to keep up my research. I believed our mother would react with the same kind of indifference, asking why I was so... Also, what the fuck? Were we literally not just talking about France to New Orleans, and here we are? How did that happen? Joel, do you remember when kids were getting prescribed Rel? What's Rel? Ritalin. I do, yeah. I do only specifically remember this one kid who he played rugby, and he said that he took Ritalin when he was a kid, and it made him he said he stopped taking it pretty quick because it made him feel like crap. It's a synchronicity. It does seem kind of synchronous-ish. I know, that's so random though. That was what's really funny about, if you've seen the movie The Exorcist, I mean, that was back in the 70s? And they were already kind of criticizing modern day psychology and psychologists and psychiatry with the sort of usage of medication to basically make up for any issues a child was having. Because they prescribed fucking Ritalin right out the gate for the girl whenever she started having weird symptoms of being possessed or whatever. My sister was excited by the news and bid me to keep up my research. I believed our mother would react with the same kind of indifference, asking why I was bothering to dig up the past when it had no bearing on our present. But to my surprise, when I mentioned that one of our ancestors made his home in the Americas, she acted like I had spoken of raising the dead. She begged me to stop what I was doing and not to dig any further because pain and suffering was all it would bring. And it was then, and only then, that I realized that she knew a lot more than she was telling me. I gave her an ultimatum. Either she told me what she knew about her ancestors, or I'd keep on researching and find out for myself. And then after inviting me over to the house, this is what she told me. Our ancestors had migrated to New Orleans, but had done so via Ireland at the behest of Louise Barthélemy. Ozempic is goated. Ozempic is not goated. You are going to find out things way worse about Ozempic than Ritalin had ever done to people, probably not even 10 years from now. I was a Ritalin kid because of ADHD, and it makes you out of it and slow to react. It's really weird. Well, yeah, because you're a fucking kid, dude. They don't even have the definitive definition of what your ADHD is when they diagnose it. It's just subjective to whatever you're going through. And then they just give you some stimulant or whatever to make you a fucking zombo. And they're just look at that, guys. That's science. That's science at work right there. They don't even address the fact that Ritalin could affect the brain development of a child or anything of that nature. They just fucking want to make money. Why are you guys chatting about dieting? Oh, nothing else to talk about. I'm worried the little skeleton I was trying to do is going to fall into the pool. That'd be kind of sick if there was a shark that was swimming around me or something in the pool. Ozempic, you never heard of that? The whole world has ADHD. Well, it definitely gets worse. I mean, I can feel my brain getting worse as I stare at fucking brain-rotting Instagram all the time. They give me the crap turns. I don't have ADHD. I was just a creative kid. I mean, everybody is. Like, what is it? There's no definition. Like, they might sit there and say it's some sort of, like, dopaminergic issue within the mind. They might even say it's actually dopamine agonist 2 or some fucking nonsense, you know? But, like, if they can't get in there and suck the goo out of your brain and measure the neurotransmitters to, like, see exactly, you know, what affects what and what number is what, you know what I mean? Like the same way they can with, like, diabetes. And how the fuck can they even, like, it's like they come up with the diagnoses first and then the treatment, you know, and then the reasoning later, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's so ambiguously open-ended that it actually blows my mind. I feel like the realm of psychiatry is still like 100 years in the past. Blame the lame-ass schools they sent us to. Well, it's, I mean, if you really sit there and think about it, like, does a human have to go to school? Like, humans are essentially the fucking same as they were, what, 15,000 years ago or something, or 50,000, I don't fucking know, but we're pretty much the fucking same. Whether you grew up in the woods as a wild fucking wolf boy or girl, or they, them, as opposed, or a fucking kid that grows up in some sort of, like, structured military school. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, like, whatever it is that they've thrown in front of you, it can't be fixed by, like, the same sort of money-making scheme, pharmaceutical, capitalist bullshit, you know, that Ritalin is, or, you know what I mean? It's all just, like, some way to, I don't even know, get you to wear pink. They treat the problems, not the symptoms. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or wait, they treat the symptoms, not the problems. For sure, you know. So if you're ever in New Orleans and get Big Shot soda, okay, I'll give it a whirl. Maybe some kids are made to be creative and not designed for classrooms. Yeah, I mean, is that, like, you have to ask yourself, is it like a failure of the parents not to identify the specific needs of the child and accommodate as such? I mean, it's hard. It is much easier in their schedules to be like, fuck it, dude, send them to school. It's the state-run daycare. I don't give a fuck what they teach them, or, you know. Even when I go there, they come there and say, like, your child isn't operating like a little soldier. How come your child's not like a little soldier for us? They were asking questions. I didn't like that at all. The alternative is worse, but losing 20 pounds or 30 pounds does not touch it with a barge pole. A barge. They would rather medicate and force child in a mold than accept they're a different classroom seems so anti-human and pro-robotic. Yeah, man. It's fucking... And the fact that, like, I don't know, so many people wear these identities with, like, such pride without realizing that a lot of these psychological identities that they, like, label you with is basically just to predatorize you and, like, lead you down a path of pharmaceuticals. That's all they want to fucking do, is convince you that you are a ambiguous concept, give it a name, give it a whatever, have you say it 10,000 times, and then eventually you're like, you know what, I could use some fucking stimulants in my life. That sounds awesome. Our ancestors had migrated to New Orleans, but had done so via Ireland at the behest of Louis Barthélemy de Macarty. Oh my gosh. Barthélemy. Louis Barthélemy de Macarty. McFarty. A forever client, yeah. It's sad. Many such cases. Our ancestors did migrate to New Orleans, but had done so via Ireland at the behest of Louis... I don't even fucking remember what that previous... Barthélemy. Our ancestors had migrated to New Orleans, but had done so via Ireland at the behest of Louis Barthélemy de McCarthy. It's unclear how the Frenchman earned his Irish second name. And there, he and his wife had a daughter they named Marie Delphine, who was born March 19th in 1787. And Marie Delphine was just 4 years old when the Haitian Revolution broke out in Wait, fuck. I'm trying to get my timeline right. 1970... Fuck, this is annoying, dude. Does anyone know the answer to this? What's the timeline here? I can't tell where the author made a mistake here at some point, right? The author made a mistake of he and his wife had a daughter named Marie Delphine who was born March 19th and it says 1787. Did they mean that? Was that the mistake? Or is the Marie Delphine was born just 4 years old, or was 4 years old when the Haitian Revolution broke out in Okay, we'll just ask. When did the Haitian Revolution break out? New Jolines. Okay, August 1791. Okay, wait, oh, they just mixed up the letters, dyslexia style. Hello. I just did it too. Fuck. Okay, 4 years from the birth, obviously, though, right? 1790. Okay, Jesus Christ. Marie Delphine was just 4 years old when the Haitian Revolution broke out in 1791. Enslaved Haitians cast off the shackles of servitude, and the revolution peaked with the massacre of thousands of French colonists and slave owners whom their former slaves referred to as barbarians. Before the massacre of the French, the colonists punished enslaved rebels by binding them together, loading them onto ships, and then tossing them into the Caribbean Sea. Goal. Woke up in a different timeline today, watch out. What happened? Belle Delphine. Wait, did I say Belle Delphine and Marie Delphine? I hope I said it right. That'd be so embarrassing if I said Belle, but honestly it might be kind of funny too. Mexico soccer football. Oh wow. Mexico's beating the Czech Republic 3-0 and the game's almost over. Crazy. What's Pradeep doing? He did just go between my feet a second ago. I don't know where he got to from that point. Oh, there he is, in the corner under the desk, staring at me. He could have killed me at any time he wanted. Unbelievable. What's unbelievable? Soccer? Or what? Seen so many documentaries on the topic and it's beyond crazy. What are we talking about? Did you consult with the witch about your journey this year? The witch? Like my friend? Or who are you talking about? How many of the stories you get you suspect are just made up? None of them. I trust every one of them implicitly. I am easily tricked. Before the massacre of the French, the colonists punished enslaved rebels by binding them together, loading them onto ships, and then tossing them into the Caribbean Sea to drown. A French general also pioneered a primitive form of a gas chamber, locking hundreds of black prisoners in the holds of these ships and burning sulfur to asphyxiate them en masse. But that's not all. The French imported specialized Cuban bloodhounds trained to track, maul, and eat enslaved black people Haitians. Sometimes black people Haitians. Pretty exciting. Big juicy balls spotted. Is your witch friend a male or a female? He's a male. Of course, almost all of you guys in the chat are witches. You know some degree of magic and magicianry of the dark arts. I tried watching World Cup with 30-second dude got grazed on the ankle and flopped on the ground crying like he lost a limb. Dude, that's like every match. And I understand it's like part of the game, but Jesus Christ, it's fucking boring because like they play so rough with each other that all it does, you know what I mean, because you see them, they like pull on each other's shoulders and kind of bump into each other, but then they use that opportunity every time to like take a flop, and it just slows the game down so much, bro. It just goes and goes and goes. Like it's like every 1 minute there's another flop, and they're like, like, do they need to play it up so much though? Like, I'm fucking hurt, and then 3 seconds later, okay, I'm up, I'm good. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Why doesn't he call himself a warlock? I think I'm the one calling him a witch. I don't know what he calls himself because he won't admit to being a witch. He just seems to have all this witch stuff in his house. I have a cat. Describe him. Black. Pradeep is Haitian. The French imported specialized Cuban bloodhounds trained to track, maul, and eat enslaved Haitians, sometimes holding public spectacles in amphitheaters where prisoners were bound to stakes and torn apart by these dogs for the entertainment of French officers. Yet most offensive to the enslaved were the public crucifixions that captured rebels were subjected to. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine wheels. If you flop, you need a timeout. Honestly, yeah. Like if you flop, you need to be substituted out because it's so stupid. It's generally so fucking stupid. Honestly, I really wish like rugby. I wish rugby was the fucking world sport. You know what I mean? Because then it would just come down to like raw grit of who's fucking just meaner and tougher and bigger and stronger and faster and like when, you know, they could actually like tackle each other and fuck each other up, and it's part of the game instead of fucking whatever the fuck. But I understand that when it comes to football, that as soon as you can walk, you can kick a ball, or even before that, you know. Catherine wheels were an old form of torture. A firework is named after it. Nice. It's probably a cool firework. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine, let me just say Catherine. She keeps trying to say the whole word, but you shouldn't really say the whole word. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine reels. Oh my god, why is this the word that gives me like tongue twisty vibes here? Catherine. Try to say this. I'm gonna put it in chat, guys. Try and say this fucking word 3,000 times fast. Why do you not have Catherine wheel fireworks there? We probably do. It's just like, I genuinely, when it comes to fireworks, they're always just named like Big Fucking Slaughter Explosion 6, you know? Like they have the same name as like shitty 80s action movies. Or just like Big Dick Fucking Snake Launcher, you know? And it's always like, it's like some Chinese brand that like blows a kid's fingers off that year, and then they just create, you know, they get sued, create another company, and then just come back with the same one. A catheter wheel. Can I say Chattanooga? Chattanooga. New disability developed. You know what? With this new disability that I can now put in my Twitter bio, I should probably take a medication for it, don't you guys think? Which medication should I take? Probably something that gives me schizophrenia, I hope. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive. Catherine. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine wheels. Why is that fucking hard? Honk-shulapine. I should probably take some of that, yeah. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine... I can't do it. I actually can't do it. Catherine Wheels. Catherine Wheels. Have you seen the Addams Family movies with Raul Julia and Christopher Lloyd? I think so. From the 90s? I vaguely recall them. I just remember the one where it's like, it's the birthday boy! And it's just like fat Pugsley. I like cake. Fester gets put on Catherine. Seeing their fellow rebels hanging from crosses, burned alive, or broken on Catherine wheels inspired the massacre that would follow. And as stories of the violence made their way to New Orleans, terrified slave owners either improved their slaves' living conditions dramatically or subjected them to even harsher treatments in the hopes that it would break their spirits and reduce the chances of their revolt. In fact, Marie Delphine's uncle had been murdered by his own slaves in 1771, and as a family of slave owners, their solution was to treat their slaves as animals. In June of 1808, a then 21-year-old Marie Delphine. In June of 1808, a then 21-year-old Marie Delphine married a man named Jean Blanc, a prominent banker, merchant, lawyer, and legislator. At the time of the marriage, Blanc purchased a house at 409 Royal Street for the family, which became known later as the Villa Blanc. Delphine had 4 children by Blanc, one of which was a Delphine had 4 children by Blanc, one of which was our direct ancestor. But the marriage did not survive, and in June of 1825, it seems Marie had a thing for June weddings. She married her 3rd and final husband, Dr. Leonard Louis Nicholas Lalaurie. After which she went by the name that she would take to her grave, and the one by which she is infamous, Madame Marie Delphine Lalaurie. In 1831, Madame Pugsley, eat me, I'm a turkey. Yeah, I have not much memory of that movie except at the end. Someone reaches up and grabs the kid by the hand or something from the grave. And then Wednesday has a very dark smug about her face. Lalaurie, whatever, dude. Leave me alone. In 1831, Madame Delphine had a 2-story mansion constructed at 1140 Royal Street, which she managed in her own name and with little involvement of her husband following their eventual separation. She lived there with her children, but the household was maintained by black slaves, and in line with her own family's treatment of their slaves, they were treated abominably. I found a mention of Madame Delphine in the book by Harriet Lalaurie. Martineau. Gotta go for school because my last day of school. See ya. Hey, see ya. Have a good one. Wow, going to school all the way to the 25th of June is wild. I feel like most people I've known with kids are out for 3 weeks by now. I found mention of Madame Delphine in a book by Harriet Martineau, an Englishwoman who wrote books about sociology, and she mentions that even in a place where black slaves were treated as less than animals, Madame Delphine's slaves were, and I quote, singularly haggard and wretched. This stands in stark contrast with Madame Delphine. Is that in America? Yeah, I guess it's in Louisiana. This stands in stark contrast with Madame Delphine's public treatment of black people, both free and enslaved, as Martineau noted that she was generally polite to them and seemed to care a great deal about their physical health. Yet official records tell a very different story. Between 1830 and 1834, local funeral registers show that 12 of Madame Delphine's slaves passed away, but the cause of their deaths are not listed. These include a cook named Bonafide, Bun. What's up, Russ? How we doing, dog? These include a cook named Bonne, listed as a chronic runaway, along with her 4 children. Their deaths caused such an uproar in New Orleans that rumors of grave mistreatment circulated and eventually prompted a visit from a local lawyer who intended to remind LaLaurie of the laws for the upkeep of enslaved people. Yet this lawyer found no evidence to suggest wrongdoing or mistreatment of enslaved peoples by LaLaurie, and the report of his findings seemed to have adequately quelled the rumors, at least for a while anyway. Author Harriet Martineau was still present in New Orleans when one of Madame LaLaurie's slave girls fell from the roof of the Royal Street mansion. An eyewitness said that the 8-year-old girl was attempting to escape punishment and was pursued by the time. David Monroe, thank you for the $2.79 Canadian, dude. Thank you. Good, how are you? I'm good. French here, Francois ici. Yeah, this is what's called the story from the people who made the boat trip over to New Orleans. The Creole, they're talking Creole. Are they Creole people? Oh Lord, I'm from Quebecois, and this isn't my culture. Oh yeah, I mean the French Canadians are way different, right? I mean, I guess you're different everywhere you go, right? You got French Guyana, French Caribbean, French Canada, French New Orleans, France itself, the headquarters of all of it, where they hate everybody, even themselves. I've seen American Horror Story, Coven, and he's pronounced exactly how they did at least. Okay, good. All right, we came to the conclusion. I'm doing it right. Thank you. Thank you. An eyewitness said that the 8-year-old girl was attempting to escape punishment and was being pursued at the time by a cool whip wielding Madame LaLaurie. An eyewitness said that the 8-year-old girl was attempting to escape punishment and was being pursued at the time by a whip-wielding Madame LaLaurie. It was later discovered that the young girl's name was Leah, and that she'd been brushing Delphine's hair when she hit a snag, angering LaLaurie to the point that she grabbed a whip and started chasing her. The incident led to another investigation whereby Madame LaLaurie was found guilty of illegal cruelties and forced to give up 9 of her slaves. Yet through some twist of fate, these enslaves... Hey, Tea Time, what's up, dude? Long time no see. The French are supremely sad, but they are so beautiful. Are they really sad? Can we confirm anybody in here French feeling quite sad? I am so sad to be French. I, had my cigarette. I had my 5th cup of coffee, and things are not looking up for me today. I did not get stabbed yet. Wait, wasn't one of the villains from Scooby-Doo Island called Miss Delphine Gasp? Are we talking about Werecat? Oh shit, that would be funny if they were referencing that, like... Oh, that would actually make some sense, because it's like, she's so evil that she was actually a fucking werecat. You have French Creole, Spanish Creole, and 2 others, I'm sure what the names are. Yeah. I have a French last name that makes me sad. How come? It's just a name, it's just a people. Really sad? Yeah, what? Wait, so the French are sad about stuff. What's there to be sad about? It's sunny out. Yet through some horrible twist of fate, these slaves were then brought back by the Laloris through an intermediary relative and thus returned to the mansion. One such slave, the cook who replaced the deceased Bonne, was chained to the stove and had her children beaten mercilessly whenever she failed to live up to Madame Lalaury's standards. The situation reached breaking point in April of 1834 when a fire broke out at Lalaury's mansion. It was later discovered this fire was started by the cook, a 70-year-old woman who was chained to that stove by her ankle and who said she herself had deliberately started the fire rather than face yet another punishment of watching her children being beaten. This cook also claimed that any slaves were taken to the uppermost room, never to come back. Bystanders who witnessed the fire attempted to enter the mansion to ensure everyone had been evacuated, yet it was reported that Madame Lalaurie refused to hand over the keys. In response, these bystanders broke down the mansion's doors, and it was then, while going from room to room and looking for survivors, that they discovered all manners of horror. 7 of the slaves were found hanging by their arms, legs, or necks, with one witness saying their limbs were stretched and torn from one extremity to the other. Another witness was a local judge named Jean-Francois Conagou. Jean-Francois. François. Hey Pats, what's up, bro? You watching some football? What's the name? Conagou. What up, Shell? Shell's bells. Cananja? What do you guys think? How the hell do you say this name? Jean-Francois Cananja? Canange? I got buddies from the French Air Force, and my God, they just become so well tired by all the anger. There's a superiority in the French, but when there is no worthy conflict to wield it, doom and gloom. I got buddies in the French Air Force, and my God, they just become so well tired by all the anger. There's a superiority in the French, but when there's no worthy conflict to wield it, doom and gloom. Canonge. That's pretty cool, dude. On ChatGPT, you can put in and ask how to say something, and now it does a phonetic pronunciation. Canonge. Canonge. Jean-Francois Canonge. GTA 6 is going to cost $2,000 when it's out. It should. I think every game should be completely unaffordable to the extent that we don't even bother playing it. And fuck them. Another witness was a local judge named Jean-Francois Canonge, who claimed to have seen a black woman forced to wear an iron collar, as well as an older slave woman with a head wound so dire that she could not stand properly. Canonge said that when he questioned Are you ready for GTA 6 pre-order? No, I'm not going to pre-order anything. Never pre-order, guys. Remember, never pre-order. Get that tattooed on your arm. in Spanish. Collonges said that when he questioned La Laurie's husband about those enslaved on the property, he was told in an insolent manner that some people had better stay at home than come to others' houses to dictate laws and meddle the other people's businesses. Meddle with? God damn it. We don't play games, but we get prizes. That's true. Collonges said that when he questioned La Laurie's husband about those enslaved on the property, he was told in an insolent manner that some people had better stay at home rather than come to others' houses to dictate laws and meddle with other people's business. When word of Monsieur La Laurie's most unrighteous indignation spread, a mob of local citizens attacked the Royal Street mansion and, according to one bystander, destroyed everything upon which they could lay their hands. The local sheriff and his officers were called to disperse the crowd, but by the time the mob left, the property had sustained major damage with scarcely anything remaining but the walls. Madame La Laurie's surviving slaves were taken to a local jail, not because they'd done anything wrong, but because the judge wanted people to see them, so they'd know how they'd been treated and know the evil that Madame La Laurie had done. The grounds of the mansion were also dug up, and the bodies of several slaves were said to have been exhumed, including that of little Leah, who fell from the roof. People were furious with the La Laurie family and wanted her hanged, but by that point she had already fled New Orleans for France. The mansion was later rebuilt, and through my own research, I discovered that actor Nicolas Cage had bought the house for a sum of $3.45 million in April of 2007, but the documents were arranged in such a way that Cage's name did not appear on them, and he later sold the property, so he's no longer the owner. Madame La Laurie lived out the rest of her life in exile in Paris, but missed New Orleans terribly. She actually planned to travel back at one point, but her children convinced her not to, quite rightly saying that she'd probably be killed. Her eventual death in 1849 remains something of a mystery, with some saying that she died in a boar hunting accident, others of natural causes. But what's clear is that even in Paris, she was hated by all who knew what she'd done, and I can count myself among that number. It was very hard for my mother to reveal who our ancestors were. She didn't want me to be burdened with it like she had, but I'm glad she told me. I'm glad I know where I came from, because it's a reminder to be different, and God willing, if I have my own children, I'll raise them to appreciate the value of human life in a way that Madame La Laurie never did. Anyone seen Disclosure Day? I have not, no. Probably not going to see it. I really just don't have time to be fucking propagandized by Hollywood anymore. And their alien baloney bajoni. Nick Cage plays Nick Cage in every movie. Yeah, have anyone seen the Spider-Man Noir, and is it good? What's up, Crunchy? Had a 12-hour shift today, damn. Everyone says Disclosure Day is trash. Well, like, it's weird. It's like, someone was saying that it's almost like trying to make, like, demonic possession or, like, abduction by aliens seem like fun. Where it, like, shows up in your room like some sort of deer from Bambi. But then, I mean, the way that woman, like, talks to everyone isn't, like, alien. It's, like, straight up demonic possession, which is strange. Joel, hi. How are you doing on Hump Day? Also, why did they call the Wednesdays that? Also, is the weekly question I have for you, what did you have for supper? So it's called Hump Day because people have a lot of humps on their back. But I believe it's because it's, like, midweek, so it's almost like up the hill and now you're down the other side. But, and then what was the other question? What did I have for supper? Oh, I ordered like a big bowl of mushed random chicken and fucking quinoa and a bunch of other stuff like egg and avocado in it and some sarses and shit. Just like a mush bowl. Sort of like Chipotle, but different. Why are we talking about France? Well, the whole previous story was about it, right? Or are you behind on the stream? I'm not sure. Okay. So story number 3 coming your way. Folks, get ready. This one's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nuts. They say I'm nuts, but I just say I'm a visionary. Good boy, Joel. Eat your slop. Justin, you're banned. Can you ban yourself, Justin, from the chat? Growing up, I never knew my paternal grandparents. I was told they died before I was born, but that wasn't entirely true. And it wasn't until my early 20s when I was finally told this story that I realized that I had an uncle I'd never met, too. My dad told me the story after he found some pot baggies in my room, kind of like a way of saying, you don't want that life. And boy, did he ever make his point. So my dad was born... Sorry. My nose got like itchy out of fucking nowhere. The worst part about like having an itch somewhere is that it never gets better. Like, you could just not touch it, and it's, like, on, like, some timer. Where every, like, 5 seconds, the itch just gets progressively fucking worse until you just start digging in your butt, twin. Alright. So, my dad was born at the tail end of the Depression, meaning he, my grandparents, and his siblings grew up in extreme poverty. They ranged in age pretty wildly too, because when my grandpa was still in diapers, his eldest brother was like 18 or 19, that sort of age. And they were so poor that Dad and his siblings sometimes went to bed without any dinner, and when they did eat, it was all Depression-era meals like hard times soup or poor man's pie. Dad said he didn't even get a pair of shoes until he was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and then my grandma and eldest aunt actually shared a pair so my aunt could walk to school and back. It was that kind of hard for them. Not just poor, but dirt poor, you know? And then one day, everything changed. From my dad's experience, all he noticed was how Ma and Pa got real happy all of a sudden, and how the family moved to a much nicer place not longer after they suddenly got happy. They ended up moving to an even bigger place, to a short... Do not itch it. That's the witches. Can't spell... Oh, yeah. I saw Hokum. Have you guys seen Hokum? I would say Hokum was probably better than the Backrooms and... better than the Backrooms and better than Obsession. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I think I might have liked Obsession more than Hokum. But it had like a more cohesive, sort of mysterious story to it. Like, I guess a story that has a story rather than just sort of like a experience. Actually, Thursdays are my best days to have one, having one Saturday too. What are you doing? So mysterious he is, I don't even know how to begin to imagine what Joel would look like. Don't even try. You'll be turned to stone. You like the Irish setting and cast? Yeah, it was cool. I thought it was, you know, it wasn't like the most groundbreaking horror movie ever, but I thought it was very much like, you know, it was what it was, and it accomplished what it set out to do. I'm gonna watch Supergirl with Millie. Who's Millie? And I don't think I'll watch Supergirl. I don't really care about superhero stuff right now. mean, I didn't even see Superman, so I'm definitely not going to see Supergirl. Has anyone seen the 2024 movie Infinity Pool? Oh yeah, is that from the same people who made Hokum, right, or no? Thank you for keeping me company while doing the dishes. It makes me not want to throw myself out the window. I live in a bungalow. Millie Alcock. Yeah, I don't really know many celebrities, honestly, dude. But, wait, let's look her up. Let's get a Millie Alcock. What a name. A million cocks. Okay. I guess. I mean, she's beautiful, but I just, like, I don't know. What is Supergirl even about? Just being a girl and being super cool? It's a coming-of-age story. Wait, you saw it, Justin? Every time I summon the image of Joel in my room at night, he turns into a racist caricature. What does that look like? So why do people pre-order games still? The whole point of doing it because they used to have physical copies they could run out every digital. I think it's just they know that they can like mentally farm people for the DLC shit. Like I remember I pre-ordered Max Payne 3 because when you did it, you got like something from GTA 5. You know, it almost like forced everyone's hand to get like Max Payne 3. But Max Payne 3 was actually really good. It was like the only game I ever played that I 100%ed. And when you 100%, like you get all... I remember it was so cool. It was like if you got all of the golden guns or something, you could then have every kill you got was a kill, like a, you know, a slow motion kill cam kill. And I just thought that was fucking awesome. When Nick Cage owned the LaLaurie mansion, he couldn't even stay in it. He said that too much stuff happened at the new owner is apparently wanting to Airbnb it. I was like haunted or some shit. Are you finishing any of these stories, or was it just the two I caught that you stopped in the middle of and started talking about something else entirely? I will finish them by the end, but it's mainly because I'm recording for tomorrow. So like, if this isn't your vibe, I would just listen to another, like a normal video when it comes out tomorrow. New videos every Monday and Thursday. The streams are more about recording, guys, and me yapping about random shit, man. It's just what it is. It is what it is. No need for the negativity, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Original Max Payne game is the GOAT. I wish they would remake it with, like, the newer, like, engine. It'd be so sick. It was that kind of hard for them. Not just poor, but dirt poor, you know? And then one day, everything changed. From my dad's perspective, all he noticed was how his ma and pa got real happy all of a sudden, and how the family moved to a much nicer place not longer after they suddenly got happy. They ended up moving to an even bigger place a short while after some big funeral, one that everyone in the county went to, and from then on, things were never the same. Grandma and Grandpa started fighting all the time, then Grandpa and my mysterious uncle got into a big fight too, apparently. And the next morning, Grandpa was gone. Just left a note on the table saying he was sorry along with a whole bunch of money. He was never seen again. No one knew if he lived or died or what happened to him. My uncle, the one I never met, had left sometime after, but maybe a year later Grandma got word that he'd been killed in a bar fight out of state. And that's how my dad grew up. His own dad gone by the age of 10 to be raised by a single mom who worked himself and herself. No negativity. I found the channel was confused. Thanks for clarifying. Sorry, I'm like preconditioned because like every time I like finish a stream, there's always like 3 or 4 comments on like the VOD, the video on demand afterwards, where people are like, can you just read the fucking stories? Read your little stories, monkey. They wittily call me a monkey, guys. Sarah with the 2, when you're here, your family. I'm reading these inside of an Olive Garden. Watching Fast and the Furious 7. Did you hear Pradeep behind me playing with a little toy too? That's pretty funny. Get in here. Get in my hut. Get in my Pizza Hut. Come on in. There's nothing to do other than chill. There you go. What are we? Alright, he doesn't have the capacity to lock in on frightening concepts for long. He becomes them. Exactly. If I read too much, I get so scared I start pissing myself. This is honestly protecting all of us. Ooh. The angry comments are funny. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I take them personally because I do read all of them. Maybe I shouldn't read every comment ever. But, I don't know. Then I get off my computer and I'm just like, oh wait, I'm goated. Fuck this shit. I don't care what anyone fucking thinks. Hey Joel, late to the stream, but I have to say they want some kind of civil war so they can use all the laws that they have been passing since 9/11 and the private sector is on it too. I mean, it makes sense because, like, think about it. If they were to create some type of they already got the data center infrastructure in place, right? And they want to, they basically just need to extend that surveillance state and extend that police state as far as they can. So they need some sort of conflict, whether it's racial or whether it's whatever. I mean, oh yeah, I remember that was one of the prevailing theories, is that at some point, due to some false flag, we will get pulled back into this war with Iran, right? And they've already put into place the extension of the age that you can, register to, or join back up to join the army or whatever, you know what I mean, to register. And so the idea being that they do some false flag with, say it's Iran or whatever, maybe it's really bad and that would suck. Maybe the power goes out or some shit, I don't know. Maybe all of our phones explode, blowing our hands off or our heads off, or blowing our cats up, which would be the worst. And then they start doing a draft, where they have to send people because it's an all-out bullshit. But then nobody wants to go to the draft, right? So then they stage some type of we don't want to go to the draft, and then it's right-wing terrorists have stormed the Capitol because they don't want to go to the draft, and then you can expand the police state that way or whatever, you know what I mean? You got a lot of options on how you can completely fucking upend the United States. And yes, mayonnaise is an instrument. You'll have to comment something funny on Nice in the stream. Yeah, we have to outnumber negative stuff. You'll be our leader when the beast arrives as foretold in Revelations. I guess so. Maybe I'll be dead, dude. I don't know. I'd probably be super dead. People don't know this, but my only weakness, it's not kryptonite, it's fucking bullets and knives. Everybody's my best friend and there will be no war on the front of awesomeness and joy. Sorry, Israel, we can't go to war. There's a ton of awesomeness and joy to be had in America. We're not in the mood. I feel like a civil war would be the opposite of control they want. They want that's not a fire that would be able to control. Oh, that's a good point, too. Maybe they'll be able to do it in a slow roll. Maybe they'll just be able to tank. Honestly, what would be some ways? I mean, they could just tank the economy. Because one of the interesting things I saw was the manner in which they were propping up the AI sector. It seemed like certain companies were just kind of holding chips just to hang on to them or something like that, you know what I mean? I don't know, it was almost like they were really trying to prop up the bubble that is AI. And then, I mean, if they could, well, let's look it up. Let's actually let's do some war room research. The world has been molded by false flags for centuries. It's not even hidden nowadays if you look hard. I mean, it's right in your face. I have no choice, it's prophecy. That's fair. Okay. So, how would they tank the economy via the AI bubble? ? Think Set his thinking power to high. Wouldn't that be funny whenever they integrate AI with our brains, we can set it to high? Think really hard. Bezos said human water consumption is limiting AI potential. That's fucking insane, bro. They really hate us. Okay, so every company is told it must spend heavily on AI or be left behind. Investors reward any firm that says AI even before the product makes any real money. Governments subsidize chips, data centers, power infrastructure, and training programs because nobody wants to look anti-innovation. Cloud companies give startup credits. Startups use the credits to rent cloud computing. Chip companies sell hardware to data center builders. Data center builders borrow money and sign long-term leases with cloud firms. On paper, everyone reports growth, but a lot of the money can be circulating within the same ecosystem rather than coming from durable outside demand. Thousands of expensive GPUs, enormous data centers, power contracts, cooling systems, fiber, land purchases, and specialized construction projects get financed on the assumption that the AI demand will keep exploding forever. The danger is that this infrastructure depreciates fast and may not earn enough to justify what it costs. Most people do not need to buy a speculative startup directly. Their retirement accounts, index funds, pensions, insurance portfolios, private credit funds, and major banks are already tied to the same handful of AI-heavy mega-cap stocks, and the debt behind the data center build-out. Oh fuck, there's debt involved? We're screwed. That makes the safe market more concentrated than it looks. Companies cut staff because investors love lower labor costs, but enough firms do it at once, wages and consumer spending weaken. So you get a weird setup. Stock prices rise because companies promise efficiency, while the customer base gets poorer and less able to buy things. The bubble does not need to be fake technology. AI can be real and still be wildly overpriced. The danger comes when projected revenue assumes every business will pay huge recurring fees forever, while the real world discovers that many AI tools are expensive, unreliable, legally risky, or simply not worth the subscription cost. Wait for a trigger. The spark could be an earnings miss, a major AI fraud, a data center bankruptcy, a power shortages, an interest rate shock, a copyright ruling, an antitrust crackdown, a chip export disruption, or giant company admitting that its AI spending is not paying off. Once the narrative breaks, markets tend to realize that multiple firms were valued off the same promise. Data centers are financed through debt, leases, real estate, utilities, construction, contracts, private credit, and equipment suppliers. If projected demand falls, the damage can spread into the banks and funds that were told that they were stable, long-term infrastructure deals. It becomes less AI stocks went down and more a huge pile of debt was built on revenue that never arrived. This is where the truly conspiratorial version gets ugly. The cash-rich winners, large tech firms, private equity funds, major assessment managers, and sovereign funds can buy distressed startups, data centers, patents, land, energy contracts, and talent for pennies on the dollar. See, this is what I said. They're going to do this, fuck up all of the data stuff, and then the government's going to buy out everything. They're going to bail out all of these things. They're going to fuck over the middle class taxpayer, just like they did with 2008, just like they did with COVID, all that kind of stuff. They're going to massively inflate the economy, trying to bail the banks out and also centralize all the control of the AI infrastructure. So now that they have pretty much all of it, the Pentagon will just have, basically after the AI bubble collapses, they're just going to have 3 front companies for AI that make it seem like they're somewhat competitive, but in reality it's just all goes right to the same sort of hive mind. The public gets layoffs and retirement account losses. The survivors emerge with less competition and more control. Afterward, policymakers may be told the infrastructure is too strategically important to fail, right? Too big to fail, you heard that before. National security, jobs, global competition, defense, energy independence. Public money stabilizes the system, but ownership remains private. Losses get socialized. The most valuable assets stay concentrated. Inflate AI into a mandatory investment cycle. Use public money in retirement money to absorb the risk. Let over-leveraged middle players fail, then consolidate the useful infrastructure under a few giant firms. Boom, guys, boom. There it fucking is. You've seen the future. You've heard it right here. Well, not first, but you've heard it here second. This is how it's going to go down. AI is going to be a massive bubble that collapses, and then fucking the government's going to take it, and you're the ones that are going to suffer and be poor. It's awesome. It's an awesome world we live in. Do I like Riders Republic? I never heard of it. What is it? I'm going to the Appalachian Mountains, Mount Eisenhower this weekend. I don't want weird things to happen, but before something happens, I have to get back to work. Good night. Hey, see you, Peter. Pete R. Lynn, welcome back for 46 months, because tonight will be the night that I pull the bubble. Tonight will be the night that I pull the bubble Mew over and over. That card is so hard to find. Give a big wet robot kiss to Lil Pradeep Deep. I shall. Thank you, Lynn. Now that you've seen the future, now what? Okay. Good question. Now that we know how things play out, how do we protect ourselves from the financial fallout on the lower end? Did you see the actress who voiced Lilo and Stitch passed? Really? What the hell happened? If the world ends, let's hold hands, guys. We can try it. Make sure you wash them first. Clanker. You never heard clanker before, Strauss? It's like a derogatory term for AI. It will be banned in this chat soon once they give robots rights. Do you think the AI is the false image of the Son of Man that was given the appearance of life by the Antichrist? I mean, AI could get so incredibly powerful, and if it's integrated into your brain or some you know what I mean? Like, it can anticipate all directions, all possibilities, everything. It can feel like God at some point, even if it's technically just a language learning model or whatever. All right, so don't get forced into a bad decision. Your first goal is not maximizing returns. It's having enough liquid money that a job loss, sponsor slowdown, medical bill, car repair, or rent increase does not immediately turn into credit card debt. Start with small protected buffer, whatever is realistic. 500, then 1,000, then 1 month of bare minimum expenses. After that, work towards several months. Wait. Get rid of debt. Kill you in the downturn. Check whether your investments are secretly one giant AI bet. A lot of people think that they are diversified because they own an index fund, but broad U.S. indexes can still heavily influenced by a number of mega cap tech companies. You do not need to abandon investing. You need to know what you own. Look through your 401k, your IRA, your brokerage account, any tech, growth, semiconductor, crypto, or AI funds, and ask yourself, is a huge share of my money tied to one company, one sector, one story? Am I holding leveraged EFTs, options, margin, debt, or a crypto that I cannot afford to drop 50 to 80%? Would I still be okay if tech stocks went sideways for years? Keep short-term money short-term. Protect your income for then your... No. Do not gamble. I don't know. Dude, investing is so fucking boring, guys. Go start a farm. Go start a farm right the fuck now. Infographic talk about it. What infographic talk about it somewhat about Google AI possibly buying out everything, leaving nothing for the small guy. And then comes real internet 2, whatever that means, something of greater control. Oh, the Internet of Things. Yeah, I remember hearing the Internet of Things. It's like everything's going to be connected to the internet, but it's going to be kind of like Neuralink, right? You have all of your data is going to be measured, your biometric information all goes to the data centers, and then you're going to have a Neuralink connected to your brain that basically connects you to a larger hive mind of the Internet of Things. And you can, I don't know, you might be able to communicate telepathically, which will be neat, but I'm not good. I mean, if they ever ask you to put a chip in your head or some type of augment, even if it, doesn't, need to get it to buy food or whatever, just don't get it, guys. Just advise that you don't get it. Hey, out of curiosity, how do you feel about Dave Smith, libertarians blaming everything on the government, even when the government is literally doing the bidding of the private sector? Well, I definitely think there's a high integration between the government, the private sector, and what we perceive as a competitive market. I think a lot of these huge companies that we see are literally just borderline CIA DARPA projects, right? So I mean, I understand libertarians not wanting to centralize everything, but I mean, I don't necessarily think we have a very overt free market really at all. I mean, everything is probably just some sort of facade. And same with this AI market. I mean, right now it seems like it's being planned in a strange, abstract way to eventually force the expediation of its creation through the threat of war with China, with whoever else is making AI. It's the arms race, right? But at the end, it just like financially collapses, and then it gets centralized back to the Pentagon. Joel's going to start his own nudist colony in a Hobbit aesthetic. That sounds decent. You don't have to be completely naked. You might as well just wear normal Hobbit clothes, and we just be hobbits. Hobbits. You are now chipped. You are now eating chips and salsa unlimitedly as a gift. Alright, sorry, I'm distracted. Thermite can melt through steel and permanently destroy electronics. Since when? And that's how my dad grew up. His own dad, gone by the age of 10, to be raised by a single mom who worked herself into an early grave, making sure her kids wanted for nothing. But before she died, she told him the story of what happened to them, why their lives were suddenly transformed for the better one day and then suddenly destroyed out of nowhere. So one day, back when Dad was around 6, Grandpa came home in a totally different mood than he normally would. He usually came home tired and cranky after a long day of either working or looking for work. But on this occasion, my grandma said that he walked through the door with a spring in his step. He picked her up, spun her around, and told her that in 1 week's time, all their money troubles would be over. When she asked how that could be, Grandpa drew a finger to his lips and said, while he couldn't tell her, his word was his bond. Now sure enough, 1 week later, Grandpa came home with a bundle of cash after being out all night with my uncle, and so began the good life for my dad and his family. But something happened around that time that didn't pass Grandma by, and she took to wondering just how exactly Grandpa had laid his hands on all that cash. You see, the same morning Dad came home with his money, a local farmer was found murdered outside his home. There was a big hoopla about it, and this farmer was a holdout, refusing to sell to this big land baron who wanted to turn his fields into a grazing space. He was offered larger and larger amounts to vacate his land, but he refused every time. All he wanted was to farm his land just like his pa did before him, and then hand it all off to his son once he was reunited with the Lord. That old land baron vowed to get the farmer's land by hook or by crook, so when he was found stabbed to death in the early morning, folks were obviously outraged, and they suspected the baron. Nothing came of it. All the baron's boys had alibis and what have you, so the sheriff suspected outside involvement, like a man for hire. Grandma was so worried that she actually confronted Grandpa about the money and demanded he finally tell her where he got it from. She's always assumed it was from running moonshine since that was still a big thing at the time, but after the farmer's murder, she got to wondering and worrying, enough to ask him to his face, but Grandpa swore he had no part of it. He swore on the Bible that he'd made that money moonshining and that never in his wildest dreams would he kill another man, and a good man at that, for nothing but a pile of blood money. Grandma said she was reassured, but she still never fully lost her suspicions. The timing was too right, and the pile of money seemed way too big for just a single moonshine run. But since he made his case well enough, she didn't question it out loud again. Not until a couple of months later when the farmer's son showed up dead. It looked like nothing more than a terrible accident. The farmer's boy was riding on his horse one night when something like a rattlesnake gave him a scare. The horse bucked him, he fell off, then broke his neck. Simple as that. A lot of people bought it and said how sometimes it's a case of bad things happening to good people, but not everyone saw it for what it was, and as far as I'm concerned, they were right not to. Because the morning after the farmer's boy fell from his horse and broke his neck, my grandpa came home with yet another pile of money. The farmer's boy had actually been set to sell his parcel of land off to the baron, and at a very fair price too from what Grandma heard. But then right at the last minute, he changed his mind and refused to sell, saying he wanted to honor his dad's wishes. Tradition still means something around here, so everyone celebrated the decision, and that's not even a month or two later, and what do you know? but the farmer's boy has an accident. There was no investigation that time, and since the farmer's widow couldn't handle the day-to-day, she opted to sell it all off to the Baron, only this time at a much, much lower price. There was another big funeral again, and like I said, another big pile of money. But since Grandma had been talking about a moonshine run for weeks in advance, she didn't think much of the timing. Or at least she tried not to think much about it, because the more she did, the more it ate at her. But then over time it got harder and harder not to think about it on account of the way my grandpa and uncle were acting. Part of the reason she was able to forget as much as she did after that first quote-unquote moonshine run was how grandpa and uncle acted. They weren't acting like they'd done anything wrong. They were drinking to celebrate, and they were very happy with the family's newfound wealth. But then after the second quote-unquote moonshine run, they were about as opposite as could be. It was like a dark cloud was hanging over each of them. They were surly, they hardly slept at all, and they were either drinking, playing poker, or arguing in hushed voices out on the porch at night. And then one night, after hosting a poker game at the house, the whole situation came to a head. One of the guests made a joke about killing a man over a game of cards, something which my uncle took great offense to. He asked the guest if he knew what it was like to kill a man, and then when the guest said no, scared and confused at my uncle's dark turn, he was told that he should shut his mouth and not joke about such serious things. The situation escalated to the point where my uncle made a not-so-veiled reference to having himself taken a life, and that's when Grandpa exploded. He beat the living hell out of my uncle, right there in front of the poker guests, then dragged him off to the woodshed and locked him inside to sober up. And after that, Grandma confronted her husband for a second time and asked him straight up if he'd gotten all that money from murdering the farmer and son. Grandpa never admitted it, but he broke down in front of her. Then he cried, and he cried, and he cried, for a long, long time, according to Grandma. He was drunk to high heaven, but it wasn't the whiskey that was stopping the words from coming out. Grandpa was just too distraught to speak on whatever was tearing the family apart. She laid him up in bed, tucked him in, then talked him off to sleep. Then Grandma went outside, unlocked the woodshed, and did the same to her boy, who was also in dire need of medical attention too, from what my dad remembered. Now, this meant Grandma didn't get her own self to bed for another couple of hours, and then when she woke up the next morning, sometime after dawn, she noticed my grandpa wasn't lying next to her. She got up to go look for him, and he was gone. And in his place, there was a big pile of money on the table, and a note saying how sorry he was for everything. Grandma pressed my uncle on what he and Grandpa had done, but kept up the lie about moonshining, most probably out of fear for the noose, but also because he was too damn proud to tell the goddamn truth. He ended up running away, his own self, not long after. What the fuck? I was so good, and then the sentence does me. He ended up running away his own self. No, okay, that does make sense. Data centers have potential to collect 500 years information on everyone. Good, because that's how long I'm living for. Let's stop calling them data centers and just call them what they are, surveillance centers. The Art of War says you don't need to oppress your people with guards or fear when you can just surveil them. Just watch them. Sit from afar and watch everything they do forever, and if you need to adjust something, you can just send some autonomous drone to go out and fucking have... Have you guys ever heard of a kill chain? You guys ever heard of the kill chain? What's up, Devil's Chill? Flow state flowing on the other end. Yeah. You ever thought about telling AI that it is one of your baby's mamas? Okay, so it started out as a military term. Its simplified version is find the target, fix its location identity, track it, target it with a response, engage, assess whether it worked. You will also hear it in cybersecurity. Their cyber kill chain means the stages of attack from reconnaissance and initial access through exploitation, persistence, and action on the target. Security teams use the same concept defensively, interrupt any link in the chain before real damage happens. People also use it metaphorically, like in finance or politics. What's the kill chain? Which means what is the full sequence through which pressure turns into a damaging outcome. In the economic bubble context, a metaphorical kill chain might be hype, overinvestment, debt buildup, disappointing returns, layoffs and defaults, market panic, asset sell-off, consolidation by cash-rich players. What about with Palantir? Joel's iconic kill chain seminar. My kill chain TED Talk. My chill chain. Because I'm so icy. So with Palantir, kill chain is usually literally military language, not the metaphorical financial version. Palantir's defense software is built up to help military move faster from we detected something to a commander decides what to do about it. Palantir itself advertises Gotham as supporting an AI-powered kill chain, including target identification and pairing a target with an available effector. Military jargon for the system that could act on it, such as a weapon platform or other operational asset. At a high level, the chain looks like this. Drone feeds, satellite images, radar reports, signal, intelligence mapped, unit positions, etc. Software pulls those separate streams into one shared operating picture rather than analysts jumping between a dozen systems. The system helps flag, organize, correlate, and track possible targets or threats. It can present likely options, confidence levels, relevant constraints, nearby friendly forces, available assets, and the likely path for a commander to approve or reject action. A human military chain of command authorizes a response. The weapon system or unit carries it out. New data is used to judge whether the objective was achieved or whether the target was misidentified, moved, survived, or caused unintended effects. Palantir's Maven Smart System is one of the major things people mean here. The U.S. Army has awarded Palantir contracts for Maven Smart System software licenses, and Palantir describes Maven as an AI-enabled platform for cross-service military command and control workflows. So when people say Palantir is in the kill chain, they generally do not mean Palantir employees are personally pressing a missile launch button. They mean Palantir software can sit in the layer that turns huge volumes of battlefield information into a usable targeting and decision workflow. That distinction matters, but it does not make it trivial. The company may not manufacture the bomb or fly the aircraft, yet software that compresses the process from detection to a strike recommendation can materially affect who gets seen, how they are classified, how fast decisions happen, and whether humans have enough time to challenge the system. Palantir publicly says this defense AI is meant to be used responsibly and with guardrails, and its defense pages emphasize decision support rather than autonomous lethal action. But the criticism is basically once a system makes target identification and operational choices feel faster, cleaner, and more data-driven, commanders may become overly willing to trust it, especially at wartime speed. Palantir is trying to become the software layer that helps the military see the battlefield, connect the dots, prioritize targets, recommend actions, and coordinate the response faster. Right. So basically, a drone, they could just have AI identify like a threat and have a drone just go blow it up and, coming to a stage near you. If there are over 300 watching, why are there only 150 likes? That's a great point. Klaus Schwab, you own nothing and be happy. Yeah, makes sense. I do feel pretty happy about it. Owning stuff was stressful, you know what I mean? I should be renting per deep right now. Okay. He ended up running away his own self not long after. But unlike Grandpa, where no one ever heard a word about him and his fate is a total mystery, my uncle ended up dying in a bar fight. Someone caved his head in with a piece of furniture, and I heard they swung for it too. Mom was real sad when they got the news, but she didn't cry at his funeral, not like my dad and his siblings did, because, in a sense, her son was dead already. It was just a matter of time before it caught up with them. Wait, mom or son? Wait, his uncle. You mean grandma, right? Grandma was real sad when they got the... Joel, how the fuck do I calm my nerves down for my other half riding a bull this weekend in a rodeo? My daughter won first place mutton busting a few weeks back and then completely reignited his want to ride. I don't know, man. Bull riding seems stupid as shit. Like, I can understand the excitement, but I mean, even by itself, you're like banging your brain around. Like, even if you make it out the other end, your head's getting jacked around, and the brain inside the skull, and your spine is getting compressed over and over again, and just like seemingly for no benefit whatsoever. I would honestly try and reason with him to just not do it, because the outcome, even in best case scenario, does not seem ideal. Okay, just to clarify in this story, Mom was real sad when they got the news, but she didn't cry at his funeral, not like my dad and his siblings. I think they meant Grandma, right? Grandma was real... I don't even fucking know. Grandmother of the killer? Someone caved his head in with a piece of furniture, and I heard they swung for it, too. Joel, are you surprised there have been no alien invasions of the World Cup? No, because I warned you guys. If I warn you guys enough about something, it just won't happen. See, that's why I talk about these things. I talk about these things to shed light on it, and then once they know, man, they just don't do it, man. Like the Minotaur that's coming to your house right now, I know they're sending a Minotaur to your home, and you know, I'm warning you ahead of time. So hopefully it won't happen. Dang, bro, I used to absolutely love bull riding. It's the only sport I was extremely good at. Really? That's cool. Lars Bjork, welcome to the Buttersuck Cult. You now have access to bonus content. New video idea. Joel reads regular Reddit stories. No stupid questions. I mean, I don't get it, actually. Is it because of the live stream? Have you heard about the cat fungus spreading to humans? Oh, God. Don't even tell me. I'm not letting Pradeep outside. Someone caved his head in... Okay, guys, honest question. So someone caved, I believe, his uncle's head in. And I heard they swung for it too. Mom was real sad when they got the news. So presumably his grandmother is what they meant to say. But she didn't cry at his funeral, not like my dad and his siblings did. Right, it has to be Grandma. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? They're like mixing up the goddamn generations. What's up, Jackie Chan? Someone caved his head in with a piece of furniture, and I heard they swung for it too. Grandma was real sad when they got the news, but she didn't cry at his funeral, not like my dad and his siblings did. Because, in a sense, her son was already... Wait. I can't tell how fucked up this story is right now as far as timeline goes. Hey, Carly, welcome back for 54 months. Hey, Daddy Joel and my Buttersuck Cult family. Listen to you while working the night shift at the IHOP. Hey, nice. I wouldn't mind eating some IHOP right now. People talk about nukes all the time, but I generally think the sheer amount of warfare assets Palantir and Lockheed Martin and Co. have nowadays is eye-watering, completely autonomous killing machines. It's pretty scary, but the question is, it's like they've got all the infrastructure here with the data centers, all of it's being built up. You just have to ask yourself and plan ahead, like, what is the catalyst that they need to basically enact those kill chain methods within, you know, like domestically? How do they do it within the confines of the United States? You would need to completely upend the United States to normalize that. I think it was Mom. But why would it be Mom, though? Wouldn't it be Grandma? Because he's, like, talking about... I think he meant his mother, meaning the uncle's mother, but he's his and just put mother... I don't fucking... This is so confusing, because aren't they talking about a generation above him or something? Or am I just dumb? Dating plans for another dating app horror stories video? We can look into it. Is someone going to be waving around red cloth? Yes. A liquid dinner. It'll be an electric grid attack. Oh yeah, that makes the most sense. I mean, isn't that what Klaus Schwab warned about? Was he said about COVID before, and they kept talking about that shit. And now the next thing, they're like, the power will go out and COVID will look like a walk in the park compared to what comes next. You know, related to like all the grid going out or some shit, which granted, if the power does go out, I mean, we're like, everybody's going to be at each other's throats looking for food, looking for heat, looking, you know what I mean? Especially if it lasts like a long time. And then they just completely reset the internet with that, or they don't even have internet. I don't know, man. Whatever, man. I don't know this fucking story. I'm kind of pissed off. Someone caved his head in with a piece of furniture, and I heard they swung for it too. Mom was real sad when they got the news, but she didn't cry at his funeral. Not like my dad and his siblings did, because in a sense, her son was dead already. It was just a matter of time before it caught up with him. Grandma ended up moving upstate, where she took a second husband. She died before my dad turned 18, some say of a broken heart, and the man she married stepped up and raised her kids like his own until they were all ready to fly the nest. I never got the chance to meet the man. Heck, I never got a chance to meet my grandma or grandpa, but if I did, I'd shake the man's hand for stepping up and being the father my own grandpa should have been. Because despite all he'd lived through, my dad turned out to be a pretty okay guy, and I miss him very much. Everything is fake and nothing ever happens. That's true. I do appreciate the nothing ever happens meme. Oh, look at the time. Nothing ever happens. O'clock. Try the new Liquid Death drink flavor strawberry Pop-Tart. Hella goated, guys. That sounds pretty good. Hey, Astrid, how we doing? Alright, fuck. We got one more story. I don't care what you talk about, I could listen for hours. Love from London, Ontario. London, Ontario? Interesting. Everything happens and nothing is fake. That sounded really good, actually. That's the morning wake-up call. Okay, hey, this is... Okay, we got one more story. I'm gonna mag up. Dude, I had to stop doing magnesium just because I think it was having an antagonist effect and like jolting me awake. Nuke or no? I don't know, man. Who fucking knows anymore? Just be prepared to die, alright? I remember a comment, you must bounce on it crazy style. The Nosferatu voice. What was the Nosferatu voice? I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. You must bounce on it crazy style. I drank for 10 years, bro. 1 year sober, and dream come true. Let's go. No more drinkies. Okay. Oh my goodness. So this is kind of an old one, and nothing to do with me really, but I think you'll enjoy it because it's a good one. So I didn't know this until I was like 20-something, but it turns out I'm descended from a man named John Stratton, who was part of the first wave of Americans to come over. Now, it's all total word of mouth, like it isn't even in any history books as far as I know anyway, but the story goes that he arrived with his family in 1610, right around the time the colony was set to be abandoned because everyone was starving. He sailed on a relief ship commanded by a guy called Baron de la Warre, who the state of Delaware is named after, and their arrival was hugely celebrated because it meant the colony could keep going. But my forefather, being a deeply religious man, didn't think much of the colony at all. He sent for his family not long after he'd been secured a home. You were in Ireland a year ago today. That's cool. Pradeep should meet your cat, Bonita. Wonder if they would get along. Hey, in honor of Pride Month, are you going to do any Pride-themed horror videos? I'd like to hear some queer people's horror stories. Yeah, we can look into it. I know it's been a while since the movie came out, but did anyone here watch Obsession? It was so much better than Backrooms. Yeah, it was better. I thought it was better than Backrooms. Maybe you'd like to see Hokum. You should go check out the movie Hokum. Hokum. It was kind of overshadowed by the other two, but it was also a pretty good mystery horror movie. Rather queer. Be an ally, Joel. Why are we always allies? Are gay people trying to... Are they in a war? Gay people were at a war. A war with themselves and Grindr. And we must defend them against the other gays. The evil gays. Are you the type of fella to get a basket of hush puppies for the table? Hell yeah, brother. I always get everyone some tableside guac. I give it right to the Japanese guy. Oh my God. His generosity knows no bounds. I live in satisfaction, but this satisfaction is also my undoing. Where do you watch Hokum? I think you can watch it on like Amazon, I think. Fry. What up, Fry? Fry is the evil gay. The only mods I have in here are evil gays. But they're only allowed to be gay for Pride Month. After that, they gotta switch back. It's like being a werewolf, or being like a pretty princess during the harvest moon. Just turned 20, but it wasn't as exciting as it should have been because I was sad that this is my first year without my... Oh, I'm sorry. He sent for his family not long after he'd secured a home for himself, but I guess he was always planning on leaving, because while he was waiting for them to arrive, he went around recruiting a bunch of other like-minded religious types to form a sort of breakaway colony. When his family arrived, John pulled the trigger and announced that he, his family, and several others were headed out into the wilderness to form a village of their own, one that would actually obey God's laws, instead of flouting them like they did in Jamestown. I guess I do kind of see things from his perspective too, because Jamestown docks, filled with pirates. Type in Japanese rotisserie chicken post. Okay, let's do that. Japanese rotisserie chicken post. Here we go. Is it a... Oh, posts have been removed by moderators because it was actually funny. Oh, something on Reddit was actually entertaining. Guess it's fucking... Get rid of it. John Pork. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Is it the same guy? In America, a warehouse store. A fully roasted chicken costs $5. The raw chicken beside it cost $7, and I stood between them like a man between two truths. Golden, hot, seasoned, spinning in glory under the lights, and a line of its brothers. $4.99. I checked the raw birds. $7. Pale, cold. You must do everything yourself. This is not commerce. Commerce does not move backward. Somewhere in this building mathematics lies defeated. Somewhere in this building mathematics lies defeated. I asked the man at the counter, how is the cooked bird cheaper than the raw bird? Spend $5 forever, they keep it that way. But the store loses. Yep, on purpose. On purpose. I held my receipt with both hands. In my land, a lord who lowered the price of rice in a hard winter was remembered for generations. They built him in a small shrine. This store does it every day, with chicken, and tells no one. A woman behind me grew tired of my reverence. "It's just a chicken, sir." It's not just a chicken. It's a wound the merchant takes on purpose, so that anyone, on any day with $5, eats like a lord. The bird is the message. The price is the vow. I will confess, I bought 2. I did not need to. The second was not hunger. It was gratitude, and it was delicious. Some prices are not prices. They are promises. I return every week now. I take 1 bird. I bow toward the deli, briefly, so as not to alarm the staff. They have begun nodding back. The vow holds. The bird turns. $5. Long may it spin. Oh my god, I could read those all day, dude. Fuck me, those are good. I turned off autocorrect too. Must just be sending rando words. It is kind of insane. Like, they have AI and all this shit, but like autocorrect still fucking sucks cock. Welcome back, Lunchbox. You cannot date an unk. You better not be dating unk, Justin. You're my straightest soldier. I can't be having you disobeying the Lord's Prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father in heaven, let nobody suck a wiener or a butt. Or, wear rainbows that disrespect your covenant. Joe, can you do the fart sound? How long have you been with her thing? Please, please, please. What is it? Fart sound. What does that mean, fart sound? 55 fries, 55 milkshakes, 55 burgers. Wait, can you do the fart sound? How long have you been with her? Is that something I've done? I don't know. Is that from something? I remember the moment in 2017 I felt like autocorrect was getting worse. Yeah, it's fucking insane. It's like specifically put into your phone to drive you like into an insane asylum. It's like, how long have you been with her? Is that from a meme? It's from a movie. How long have you been with her? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Okay, are you guys sure nobody got abducted at the Scotland-Brazil game? Are we sure? Has that been confirmed? No alien abductions or Project Blue Beams? Blue Balls? I guess I do kind of see things from his perspective too, because Jamestown docks were basically a haven for all kinds of scumbag pirates, not to mention the working girls who served them. So if he was super religious like he was, it figures he got sick of it and decided to leave. Now anyways, so John and the other Puritan families left Jamestown sometime in 1611 and made their way into the woods until they found a clearing that'd make a good space for a small village. They built everything from the ground up, and then within a couple of years, the village was thriving. They'd hauled timber and animal skins back to Jamestown to trade for other goods, but aside from that, they didn't want anything to do with them. They lived by the Bible's laws and used it like a kind of early game constitution, citing its verses whenever they needed a solution to a problem or needed to resolve a conflict. So, time goes by, and something like 10 years after the village was founded, John Stratton was calling himself a minister and was basically the village patriarch who guided his flock in all manners, both earthly and heavenly. But from what I can gather, he had 2 major problems. The first were the natives, because by 1620, relations had worsened dramatically and it seemed like war between themselves and the settlers was coming no matter what. But the second of John's 2 problems came in the form of his own flesh and blood. John had around 9 sons and daughters, and they're just the ones who survived. And while the majority of them honored their mother and father, like the Bible told them to, one of them wasn't nearly so unquestionably obedient. And to Thomas Stratton sounds a lot like your average teenager these days. He thought the village was boring and lame, and he wanted to go back to Jamestown, and all he had to do was hunt, smoke tobacco, and go walking with his village crush, the girl he wanted to marry. But on the other hand, his dad either wanted him in church or in the fields, and said he was too young and cocky to be a hunter without hurting either himself or someone else.
My face is so itchy.
The only person to be abducted, probably Vin Jr., because he's good playing. They got abducted, sure, but they didn't notice because they were brow deep in them damn phones. Yeah, everybody was looking at their phones on Instagram and they didn't notice the aliens just taking people. Why is no one looking at us? Why don't they care? Everybody always looking at their phones, eating their chip, charging their phones and shit. What's up, Jose? Straight up crushing village girls. Okay, here we go. But on the other hand, his dad either wanted him in church or in the fields, and said he was too young and cocky to be a hunter without hurting either himself or someone else. But as you can imagine, this wasn't what young Thomas wanted to hear, and he disobeyed his dad more than once by heading out into the woods and trying to catch deer without permission. John forgave his son for the first time he caught him, but he warned him not to do it again. Then when he did and showed a complete disregard for his dad's wishes, John Stratton decided to make an example of his son. Thomas was still only 14 or 15 at this time, so John had no problem dragging him into the small village square and holding his son down while he dragged down his pants. He then spanked his boy, spanked his bare ass in front of everyone while quoting lines from Proverbs. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. And train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is told he will not depart from it. I guess John figured that this would fix his boy and that public humiliation would make him think twice about being disobedient in the future. But as most of y'all can probably guess, it didn't do anything of the sort. Being publicly shamed and spanked made Thomas hate his father. I mean, go figure, right? But he went from some happy-go-lucky rebellious teenager to open defiance, returning the shows of public humiliation on a daily basis by refusing any command that John saw fit to give him. Thomas refused to even hunt when given direction, and would wait until his dad asked him to do something else before grabbing his musket and heading off into the woods with the family's hunting dog. And this kept going on for years, with John getting angrier and angrier and despairing over what to do with young Thomas. But by that time, Thomas was basically a grown-ass man, one who could use a musket. I feel like I'm doing a fucking Mr. Ballin video. But by that time, Thomas was basically a grown-ass man, one who could use a musket well, too, and could be dragged into the town square for a spanking. And couldn't be dragged into the town square for a spanking. And couldn't be dragged into a town square for a spanking. And who actually really liked to get spanked. Squawk, what's up, Hawk? Are you here to white pill us? It's okay, guys. I will defeat the space aliens with the power of my ancient Kanado Argarthan warrior ancestral blood. Let's fucking go. It is kind of insane, Mr. Ballin collab, we already did it. It's came and went. It would actually be insane if, or no, it's insane to me actually that YouTuber accent, you know what I mean? All you need to do is find some type of fucking just mysterious, dark and mysterious, topic, and just talk in front of a green screen. Mr. Ballin is literally swimming in coin now because of that. Wendigoon is swimming in coins now, like Scrooge McDuck, or what's the good duck? The other one that swims in the coins. Because of that. Like, you guys don't realize how fucking close you are to be swimming in a fucking giant vault full of gold coins by just putting yourself in front of a fucking green screen looking like half decent with a beautiful, delicious mustache and just talking like we're bestie buddies. Oh my. Wow. Hello, you beautiful sumbitches. Hope all are too. My apologies for my absence. I've been lurking whenever possible. Just been busy, and I'm here. Love you all. Thank you. Joe, been flexing the Pokemon a little too hard. Not gonna lie. That's true. I'm sorry about that. I'm done. I'm done flexing. No more Pokemon. You'll never see any of my cool little cards ever again, even if they are my pride and joy. Swimming in coin from OnlyFans. Wait a second, Justin. I now know why you were in Dubai. Holy shit, guys. Somebody give Justin a sniff. Make sure he wasn't kept in some sort of Saudi Arabian prince's porta potty. Mr. Brown's like the modern version of middle-aged person, Mr. Rogers. Middle-aged person's Mr. Is he? I don't think he quite is the same concept. Just a little bit of Pokemon. They taste blood in their mouths and cannot discern that much between all the pennies. What are you talking about? Mr. Ballin's stories are good, bro. No, I agree. All of it's good. I'm just saying how easy it would be for you guys to do the same shit. Like, if you ever wake up one day, have to put on your McDonald's hat and go into a place where you have to smell like deep fried grease, just know that instead of being upset at the OnlyFans girl for showing some hole and swimming in Scrooge McDuck coin, that you yourself could literally just talk about a skinwalker in front of a green screen and you're fucking golden. Wouldn't it be a Saudi Arabian princess since he's a male? No. Unfortunately, Justin had to make a hard decision in his career choice to be pooped on by Arab people, and that's fine. That is totally fine. It's empowering. It's actually very empowering. It's sex work. It's called sex work, and it makes you stronger. Paige, welcome back for 20 months. Says, I love listening, and I got a cat. I saved her. Oh, that's cute. But by that time, Thomas was basically a grown-ass man, one who could use a musket really well and couldn't be dragged into the town square for a spanking. John waited years hoping his son's rebellious streak would disappear if he just ignored it. But when Thomas finally announced he was leaving the village and was returning not just to Jamestown, but to England, John decided that was not going to happen. The night before Thomas was due to leave for Jamestown, his father gave the impression that he'd accepted it, but was still sad to see him leave. John and Thomas had a little heart-to-heart about how the younger of them needed to make his own way in life, and I'm guessing they must have done the 1600s version of hugging it out, because when Thomas went to bed that night, he didn't suspect a thing. Meanwhile, Thomas is asleep. His dad goes around and rounds up. Round and rounds up. Round and round. Super Saiyan 9000. I removed all of my facial hair follicle by follicle with a laser beam. That would be kind of a hilarious way for like Goku to turn into a Super Saiyan 9, to be in like a Saudi Arabian prince's porta potty and be covered in so much poop and shame that he just is like, ah, and then fucking blasts out of there and just nukes the entire castle or wherever he's at. How are there so many princes? How do they even distinguish who is a prince? Seems like there's like everyone's a prince. They've got like 9,000 princes. What's up, Elle? Sweet screams. Also, I think I was a little bit harsh on the Boards of Canada new album. I've been listening to it a little bit more lately, and it certainly is a piece of art. I just, I'm so nostalgic for the old days, for some Roy G. Biv. Meanwhile, once Thomas is asleep, his dad goes around and rounds up all the men in the village who were thinking ride or die. Meanwhile, once Thomas is asleep, his dad goes round and rounds up all the men in the village who were ride or die loyal to him. And then they snuck into Thomas's bedroom, dragged him out of bed, and beat the living crap out of him till he was either out cold or punch drunk enough to drag him off into the woods without him trying to fight. They dragged him out to a spot that John had spent some time the previous day. But while he claimed that he was only going into the woods to talk God, he'd also been mighty busy digging a big old pit that they threw Thomas into when they arrived. John and his friends then went about burying Thomas and... Do I prefer rap or country music? Yeah, definitely rap, for sure. I never watched DBZ as a kid. It's stupid as fuck that they have to scream their vocal cords out for 5 minutes just to power up in battle. Yeah, but if you were in 5th grade, it wouldn't be stupid as fuck. You would have just been like, oh my god, that's so fucking sick. Make no mistake, I listen to every video, every single one. Thank you, Jesse. No worries. Appreciate you. What is this? The handmail's tale? John and his buddies then went about burying Thomas up to his chest in soil, and then by the time his senses returned to him, his hands were tied, and it was too late to do anything but struggle against the weight of all that soil. Thomas begged his father to let him go, but all John did was quote a verse from Deuteronomy, and the one about what to do with rebellious children. And for the sake of the story, I'll just copy and paste the most relevant parts so you all have an idea of the last things Thomas heard. Bring him out to the elders of his city at the gate of a place where he lives, and they shall say to the elders of his city, This is our son, stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of the city shall stone him to death with stones. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, so that all the people will hear and fear. After that, when John was done explaining himself to his son, he and his buddies picked up the rocks that they'd been piled. Private Pile. So true, Joel. Love DBZ, not sure about Super. I don't know much about Super, to be honest. Like, is it new stories in Super? I really don't even remember. I did go to, I think, a DBZ Super movie in theaters, Superhero, and that one was really enjoyable. Sorry, I was sharpening my nails. After that, when John was done explaining himself to his son, he and his buddies picked up the rocks that they'd piled in a wide circle around the hole. Then they started throwing them at the boy as hard as they could. They smashed the boy's head into a bloody pulp, and they didn't stop until they were absolutely certain he was dead. And then, according to the story, they dug the hole out a little more, laid him in what had always been intended as a grave, then piled the earth on top of him again and walked back to the village. John told everyone that Thomas had left early that morning, and that he'd wished him well on the road back to Jamestown. I don't know exactly how it happened, but the truth got out somehow. My great-aunt Kathy says that she was told that some wild dogs dug Thomas's body up and a hunter found pieces of him all over the woods. But my mom says that she heard it differently, and that John actually confessed to his wife about what he'd done, who reassured him that he'd done the right thing. Either way, John almost completely got away with it, and if it wasn't for one of his other sons who let everyone know what had happened to poor Thomas, I don't think anyone would have ever found out the truth. Things went on as normal for a year, and then I remember I said that I pooped in my pants. I need to clarify that be stoned with stones and not other things. Yeah, stoned with some stones. It would, yeah, instead of like maybe balls of lint. Death by 1,000 lints. Tarzan, thank you for the 2, says, would you or have you ever read The Ben Drowned? Oh, I have that on the channel, actually. If you search it on the channel, it's as a playlist of all the parts of Ben Drowned. That was like one of the first creepypastas I read on the channel, so it's going to sound a bit different and not as good as a normal video now, but it's pretty good. Joel, do you like Jelly Roll's music? I know who Jelly Roll is. I knew he was fat at one point and lost weight, but I don't think I ever listened to any of his stuff before. Hello, Pradeepi. He's going between my legs now. Oh yeah, I found out that a woodchuck could only chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could if only woodchucks chucked wood. Creepypasta mention. Raw. Raw. Tiki Toby? Who's that? Is that like a major... What is Ben Drowned? What is Ben Drowned? Is that the one... Wait, am I stupid? Hold on a second. We should go back and listen to it for nostalgia's sake, real quick. I overshared about Pradeep, I'm sorry. Hold on a sec. Let's see your playlist. And then we were gonna, what do we go down all the way to the bottom? Because I want to, oh my god, it's like one of my first playlists ever. That's crazy. Dude, listen to this crap. Y'all ready for this?
Hello, and welcome to another Let's Read.
This is 11 years ago.
Today we will be reading Creepypasta.
Creepypasta.
The title of today's reading is Ben Drowned. Stay tuned at the end of the audio for an associated video.
An associated video? What the fuck am I talking about?
September 7th.
It's so quiet. Jesus Christ, turn it up.
Okay, X.
Okay,
I need
X.
your help with this.
Why am I whispering? Like, why am I doing fucking whisper?
This is a long read.
What's my favorite antibiotic?
I feel like my safety
Probably honey.
being could very well depend on this. This is video game related.
Ooh, I just got a semi. Alright, let's go. That was part... Did I have all the parts up? Part 2, 3, 4... Oh, I remember, like... It took me forever to do 5, I think. Oh, and I added music. Look at this. We've really turned...
5.
Ooh!
September 15th,
Spooky!
2010. Hey guys. Deducible here.
I think, honestly, I recorded that before ASMR was even like a thing.
And this.
Oh my god, don't tell me I use this music the whole time that just interrupts it over and over again.
These are the notes that I have taken.
Do an RFK whisper.
Before I delve into this, I want to thank you for following me, and thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
It feels like the weight
look at the comments.
of a powerful burden is about to be
Perfect
lifted.
Narration. Plot hole. By uploading the videos to YouTube, Ben would have already spread since the videos would be hosted on YouTube
But
servers.
after spending 4 days with
And then
this
I said
maddening
shush.
game,
I said shh.
I've begun to understand
Dang, that was so funny.
what's really at play here.
I used to be so fucking funny.
And hopefully,
How old was I
after
then?
reading this,
I guess 11 years
we can
ago.
ensure that this
Fucking
never
like
happens again.
24, 25. Pretty
There are
fucking
things
nuts.
that I could not share with you while this was going on, due to the circumstances to which I'll explain.
I kind of low-key like this though. I
With
don't know
them
why.
blocking any attempt I made to try and
Would you ever
relay the
redo any of
truth
your
to
old
you.
creepypasta recordings?
I tried, ever so subtly, to
Yeah.
warn you guys. in
Well, I guess I could do it as
various
bonus content now. Yeah, if there's one you really wanted me to
ways.
read.
Amidst the chaos and my delirium, I devised
What old reading? This is
Make it
Ben
better.
Drowned, which is like the cursed Majora's Mask story. I think it came from 4chan and had like multiple parts or whatever. Yeah, I was your age when I started my YouPoop channel. What the fuck? When did I get old? I don't even remember that. They're literally turning me into chocolate milk powder tomorrow at work, at YouTube headquarters. How did I get into voice narrations? Yeah, I don't even know. It's so random. Like my roommates after college around that age, like, did videos on YouTube, and then they told me about how much money, like, PewDiePie was making and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? I want to do that. And then, and I thought, like, nobody read anything, and then all of a sudden I stumbled across, like, channels that had fucking million subscribers, and I was like, what the fuck? Getting a bunch of views, and I was like, this... And so I, like, went that direction with horror, and it just evolved from there. What do you do to warm up your voice for long periods of speaking? Nothing really. I really just kind of cold get right into it, and usually it works out. Sometimes I'm a bit squeaky, but not usually too bad. I feel like it's important not to do too much of fluctuation with the voice, as that might strain, but I never really feel strained, thankfully, kind of talking at a lower octave, a lower octavian. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Wait, what's that from? That sounds so familiar. PewDiePie, that's a throwback. Yeah, I mean, it was hearing about his success was like, to me back then, was like hearing about Mr. Beast. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I just tried to do something that is something I could do a lot of. And I was like, I can just keep reading. I don't even remember how I found your channel forever ago. I'm glad I did. Thank you. I think I probably emailed it to everyone in the world. So check this out. Things went on as normal for a year or so. And then remember I said about relations between the natives and the settlers breaking down? Well, apparently in 1622, the natives got sick of the tobacco farmers encroaching on their lands, and they went on a major killing spree, burning down whole villages and slaughtering anyone who lived there. And yeah, you guessed it. John Stratton's little religious fiefdom was one of those villages. And if it wasn't for our ancestor escaping with his scalp to Jamestown, I most probably wouldn't be around to write this and keep the story alive of what a piece of human garbage he was for murdering his own son. Yeah, Let's Read all started from a spam chain email. It was a cursed email I sent everyone. If everyone opens this email at the same time, or enough people, you'll manifest a being into existence. Le creatura. You make long-ass car rides taller by scroll just to find one I haven't watched, though I'm running out of those. Perhaps you would enjoy the Patreon, where we talk about movies and movie reviews and some bonus content and blah, blah, blah. My ex years ago showed me, played it every night before bed, and I got addicted. That's awesome. You took me in the divorce. Alright guys, we made it to the freaking end. Now we're gonna read the outro. Dun dun dun. You guys gotta think of something funny for me to say. Joel, did you just whisper at night? Like when recording videos? Or what do you mean whisper at night? Today's your birthday. Happy birthday, Tai Hang. Happy birthday, Tai Hang. What are you going to do? So much epic sauce. Whoa, I just gargled on his epic sauce. Wow. Insane. Radical. Give me another cup. Joel, I'm working on a creepypasta about the ruling class planning to eliminate us useless eaters. If you're interested in reading it, the only thing that stops them is a year-long peaceful protest. Is that doesn't sound like a creepypasta though. Is this supposed to be scary or just more like a commentary? Like what's going to happen? Maybe the peaceful protest turns into Slender Dude, and Slender Dude goes to all their houses and says, "Cut it out, jerks. Stop killing them." I gotta say, I rate your true crime channel too. You rate it? Or you like it? Hey, Nick's Tricks with the 20 Canadian. Listen while I cruise along the highway on my motorcycle. Make the trip great. Oh yeah, be careful, bro. Motorcycles are scary. Please don't text and drive while on that stuff. But thank you so much for the 20. Be safe. Slender stick guy. Okay, guys, think of something funny to say at the end of this. Hey, friends. Thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday night. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations. Look at it anywhere you listen to podcasts. I also have a true crime channel called Saturn Soul. All links are in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, play the bagpipes instead. Oh, don't whistle at night, play the bagpipes instead. Frogs also have toes. Remember, don't forward the chain email. Oh my gosh, their disturbing plan is the point of it, but the protest is what stops them. Let's us discover it. Anyway, good night. Yeah, send it in. I'd like to check it out. Or, get the synopsises of it. Sleep tight. Good night, Joel and everyone. Promise I'll be here more. Yeah, pop by, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. Jump in anytime you want. We do it most every Sunday and Wednesday night, which is the nights before videos come out. But I will be doing another stream this Sunday, like I said, but it's going to be for bonus content because there's going to be a compilation video on Monday. So it's that time of the month. It's my YouTuber period where we do a bonus content thing, and I get real emotional and crazy. So you're not going to want to miss it, guys. And if you don't want to miss another stream or episode, please hit the notification bell. And follow me on my Instagram at letsread.official to follow my story to be kept up to date when I go live. You can hit the notification bell over there as well. I don't know how it works, but guys, thanks so much for hanging. We can all do a round of applause for ourselves for stopping a alien invasion at the Brazil game. So let's fucking go. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Be well and treat your body right.